What's up, everybody? It's Grim, and you're watching Thrash Maniac 99 Wrestling, Gaming, and Metal videos. Hit the real intro.
As he told us on Tuesday, here's the sweet and giving Jimmy Spencer. Let's get primed.
Krista, my plan was to have a 3-hour show, but management got involved. So we've condensed it to 6 awards.
Well, I'm very disappointed that we didn't get to do this for 3 hours, but I'll let you get to the first award.
You know, Krista, we have seen some really hard racing this year, but sometimes these drivers go overboard. The first award, it's the Shop Towel Award for the dirtiest move. You know, I've earned plenty of these awards myself, like me and Kurt Busch at Indianapolis, Michigan. Oh, I'm getting off track here. Here's the nominees. Atlanta, Carl Edwards tries to give Brad Keselowski his pilot's license. Kevin Harvick, he dumps Joey Logano at Bristol and repeats it at Pocono. Martinsville, truck race. Hornaday dumps Johnny Sauter. Oh my. And Johnny comes back for an explanation. Oh, Nationwide, Nashville. Jason Leffler, Great Clips car. I guess he's going after James Busher with the hair clippers. Lock of the night. The Jimmie goes to Carl Edwards. You know, Carl, that kid's too young to be flying. I could say a lot more, but nah, you know what, I better stop.
Well, you never stop. You always say more. Jimmy, I think you're the expert to hand out that one.
I am, you know. And, here's one I know a little bit about. Brain fade. If there's any expert to give this award, it's yours truly. You know, when I'm watching these races, you wouldn't believe the things I yell at the TV. Here are some of the things from this year that left me scratching my head. Marcus Ambrose, coasting uphill at Sonoma. I don't believe that's brain fade. That's brain dead. How about the All-Star race? Montoya trying to wreck somebody after he's already passed him? Real bright. Atlanta, David Reagan hits turn 2 wall. Wait a minute, I'm okay. Whoa, wait a minute, I crashed. Jack Roush, for keeping David Reagan around, for changing crew chiefs like I changed my socks, and not winning a downforce race in a year and a half. You know, that's another no-brainer. Newsflash. Gravity is still in effect, Marcos. But really, I love Marcos. You know, I was trying to think of my worst brain fade incident. I might make Marcos look like a world scholar. But Marcos gets the chalkboard award, so he can write on, I cannot coast uphill. I cannot coast uphill. 110 times before each lap around Infineon.
Well, what I learned there is that you actually change your socks. Okay, Jimmy, we've got time for one more before we need to go to break.
Okay. You know, throughout the season, the drivers say things that just plain make me joyous. Here's the nominees for the best soundbite.
But to lose to 48, I could have picked 41 other better ones.
We're not good enough to be in the chase yet. We need to work harder. Even if we make it, I mean, what's the point of making it if you're just barely good enough to be there?
Somebody nailed me, and once I got hit, then I was pretty mad, and I made sure whoever hit me didn't win the race.
No, I haven't talked to him. I don't really care to talk to him. I don't ever care to talk to him, and he doesn't care to talk to me. So I think we're good teammates. We just don't talk.
Yeah, I love it. You know what? But this one goes to Junior. It's about time for Junior to win something. But how refreshingly honest of him. You know, he brings up a great point about this chase. It's only meaningful to get in it if you're going to have a shot at this championship.
Well, very true. I love that you had your microphone there. That's part 1. Jimmy, stick around. I know we've got 3 more awards, and they're coming up here on the Hub next. Welcome back to NASCAR Race Hub, where we are in the middle of the Jimmie Awards. Mr. Excitement, I think the fans will probably agree with your first 3 winners. Junior won something. That's usually a crowd pleaser. So what's next?
Krista, you know, I really like working with you. But I want to talk about some people who don't like working together sometimes. Here's the nominees for the worst teammate. Vegas, 1 versus 42, turn 3. Someone ended up with a chip on their shoulder. Texas, Jimmie Johnson turns into Jeff Gordon, 1 week later, puts a block on, almost wrecks the whole field. Sprint all-star race. Denny Hamlin boxes up Kyle Busch in turn 2. Pocono. AJ, pull my finger. Throws a block on his teammate, causes more digits worth of damage than there's letters in his name. That's $1 gazillion. Hey, this was the most hotly contested category, but it's 4-time for his 2 times running into his teammate Jimmie. Johnson wins this award. He gets the towel.
Yeah, I am over here just laughing. Now, that one surprised me a little, Jimmie. Now, we had the best soundbite earlier in the show, so I'm guessing we're due for the worst.
Oh, hey, you betcha. And here's the nominees.
Somebody better keep me away from Denny Hamlin after this race. I swear to God, I'm going to kill that.
I don't know what his deal's with me, but it's probably not his fault. You know, his wife wears a fire suit and the family tells him what to do.
Danica Mania crowd, I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. Don't hate me. Junior Nation, don't hate me.
It's just hard when you have guys that don't belong there running there. It's just sad, you know.
Hands down, Joey Logano. You're young, so you got an excuse. But young man, don't say anything bad about a lady. Am I right, Krista?
Well, I haven't been called a lady too often, but I can't argue there. It's the final award. What have we got?
Hey, the famous Cigar Award, of course. You know, who's the best driver so far in 2010? You know, I had a lot of nominees to choose from. How about Aric Almirola? Getting in the truck Kyle Busch drove, 2 wins, top 5 in points, and contending for the championship. Hamlin, finally, we might have somebody to challenge this 48 team. Harvick, 1,000-point swing in 1 year, absolutely incredible. Brad Keselowski, he's been to victory lane. He's got a point lead that's making Carl Edwards cry. Hey, it takes a lot to do with just one good leg. Denny Hamlin gets this cigar, baby. 2 of 11. Driver of 2010 so far.
Thanks, Jimmie. Now, are we going to do these again once the year's finished?
Oh, of course. You know, but seriously, I hope the fans enjoyed, agreed with me at least a few times.
Yeah, I think they will. And, you know, since you mentioned it, we did get an email, and I want you to see this. This is from Bob in Mebane, North Carolina. He says, you should consider changing Jimmy Spencer's nickname to Mr. Excrement, because I've never heard anybody more full of it. Jimmie, what do you have to say to Bob?
Hey, Bob, I didn't like that email.
Yeah, don't change the business cards yet. Thanks a lot. We really enjoyed the Jimmie Awards. Great stuff.
Thanks, Krista.
Now, Jimmie Johnson extended his lead in the standings by 28 points following Fontana. I know one person who certainly doesn't like that.
I've said all year long that if Jimmie Johnson wins 5 championships in a row, I'm going to need some kind of therapy. Or a few cases of beer, if you know what I mean. Kurt Busch can hook me up there. Hey, but these guys racing him, they're just giving it away. Joe Gibbs Racing can't build a car that stays together. Usually it's Denny's. But Gordon here, you know, he speeded on pit road. I think last time he sped on pit road, I was still driving. Hey, how about Denny Hamlin here? He had to start in the back of the pack as his transmission broke. And he couldn't go anywhere on them restarts all day long. Good job there, boys. But you know what? One guy really impressed me. Smoke. Check him out here on pit road. Came in behind Jimmie Johnson and Mark Martin. Watch him here as he gets past the timing line. He then speeds it up. He slams his brakes on. He gets every inch out of that time that he can get. Check it out here again. You have to be very precise to pull this off, man, without getting busted for speeding. Right, Jeff? Hey, Tony got out ahead of the 5 and the 48 with this stop. And then he went on to pass the 33 on the restart, and he won. Great job, Smoke. You know what? You're 107 points behind Jimmie. But I got a little present here for you. It's this gas. You should have saved it at Loudon. It's worth 94 points. I put in one of these here bottles because I know you drivers, you love to carry these things around and pose with them.
Wow, you're so giving, Spence, but there are also a few, let's say, questionable crashes in the Cup and Nationwide races. I'm guessing you'd like to weigh in on those as well.
Well, I twist my arm, Steve. Why don't you? But you know what? I noticed something. Check this out. Look here at David Reagan. He's coming off turn 4, 9 laps to go. He cuts Kurt Busch off. Kurt backs off and says, no, all right, I'll give you this spot next lap. I'm going to get it back. Oh, not with David Reagan. What's the deal, David? Look at it here from Kurt's point of view. Come on. You know, and then back to Saturday, check out Danica Patrick and James Boucher back here in turn 2. She gives him a little squeeze here coming off of turn 2, and then the very next lap, oh, she does it again. But she could have given him a little more room, but she does move down immediately. But James said enough. He dumps her. James said it was not intentional. Oh, bullcrap! Bullcrap! But anyway, Danica, she did a great job. Throughout that whole day, she raced her butt off. Look at her here. She was a lap down at this point. She was even passing her teammate, my old buddy Aric Almirola. And at one point, she was even running top 6 speed. Cigar Awards, baby. Most impressive drive of the weekend. I'm shocked. But it's Danica, man. Keep it up, baby.
A cigar for Danica, but with all the errors and mistakes, no crying towel?
All right, Steve, if you want it, I'm going to give it to you.
I love it.
UPS is looking for some drivers, but Jack Roush should be looking for one, too. David Reagan wrecked his 800th car this weekend. Think about it. Denny Hamlin says all we do is win. David goes, all we do is spin.
Thanks, man.
Who will be the last man standing? No one covers the chase like NASCAR on speed.
Jimmie promised a cigar, a crying towel, yes, and some calculator crunch numbers.
Hey, I got lots of numbers, Steve. Math is my best subject in school, next to the ladies.
Well, playa, Jimmie, you gave Danica a cigar last week, and she shows up at Charlotte and turns in her best career finish. Maybe it's a good luck charm. Who's getting the cigar this week?
Hey, Bernsey, I think it is a good luck charm, but this guy doesn't need any luck. It's Jamie Mack, baby, win number 3 of the year. You know, I bet the Cat in the Hat's regretting choosing him to be the odd man out when they had to make that downsize last year. Because look, he's kicking Roush's butt. Beat the Biff of the Daytona 500, and every time I turn around, he's passing to the Roush car. Here he goes around David Reagan. Ooh. Oops. Of course, David crashes him. That never happens. Hey, but look at these numbers. These are Jamie's 2010 stats stacked up against all 4 Roush Fenway cars combined. He's got more wins, poles, and 60% as many laps led as the Biff, Carl, Matt, and David put together. Very deserving cigar, Steve.
Can't argue with that, but I'm anxious, Spence. Who gets the crying towel?
You know, Steve, I was listening to you and Dillon talking about this whole Kasey Kahne deal. I read in that AP article, after Kasey's brakes failed for the 2nd time in the last 3 races, Kasey was told by one of his crew members that the driver needed to start doing his part. Well, hey, unnamed crew member, let me tell you, what do you expect the driver to do? He drives down into a corner at 195 miles an hour. He has no brakes. I have an idea. Let's put you in a car on the interstate and tell you to get off the next exit. But you can't use no brakes. Kasey needs to do his part. Give me a break. I don't think so. Look at these numbers. Look at how much Kasey was whipping his teammate A.J. Allmendinger before they announced Kasey was going to Red Bull. Petty was trying to keep him. And since the announcement, look at how all of a sudden the 43 cars out running the line every week. Mighty suspicious. I think it's the team not giving Kasey their best, not the other way around. I'm still upset, Steve. Casey's so pretty.
There. It's okay, little Jimmie. Once again, the other Jimmie extended his points lead. Now he's up 41 points.
Yeah. I think that's only going to make NASCAR look even harder at adjusting this point system for next year. There's talk about putting the chase drivers on their own point system. Hooray! This is what it would look like if the chase guys got 1st through 12 points separately. Of course, Jimmie Johnson somehow ends up with a bigger lead than he already has. Figures that. But the top 8 would be within 85 points. The maximum swing under the system would be 68 points a race. Keep it tighter, baby. Would be interesting.
Well, that calculator was smoking it. Jimmie, the crying towel might be getting soggy.
I think I'll get a new one. I'm so upset with it picking on Kasey.
It's okay, little Jimmie. Appreciate all the hard work. Maybe take a nap. Settle down.
Who will be the last man standing? No one covers the chase like NASCAR on speed.
Now, Jimmie, I was told earlier at least 1 crying towel. That sounds like more than 1 to me.
Hey. So many candidates, Steve. I couldn't believe they were able to finish the race at Martinsville with how wet the track must have been from all the whining and crying. Just look at these here crybabies.
Next time you get a chance, just ask the 40 if he has a spotter. I'm telling you, Gil, he's out of mulligan. I mean, he's done it to me. That's the 3rd time now. Did it at Indy, did it at Loudon, done it here.
Over the years with Gordon here, wrecking the 97 and wrecking the 2 car, whether you're a current Kurt fan or an ex-Rusty fan, he's wrecked the 2 car a lot here.
Why don't you go tell the 48? I wouldn't beat his back bumper off if they would have let me go about 40 laps ago. Stop flipping me off and just drive your little.
I don't know if I have enough towels, Steve. Jeff and Kevin, they can't stand it when their teammates won't pull over and let them pass. Kurt, he's upset for something that happened in 1990. And Kyle, the Bar of Soap Award, that dirty mouth. Jimmie is so mean for actually racing. How awful!
Ooh, lots of towels, Spence. How about cigars?
Absolutely. Jeff Burton. Hey, I couldn't have said it any better than Burton did. About that whole deal with him and Harvick. Hey, check this out.
There'll come a point when he realizes that everybody in the world's not against him. And every time it's a conflict, he's involved. And you would think over the amount of years he's done it, that he would get the hint that he's always in the middle of it. And maybe sometimes if he just backed up a little bit and caught his breath, he'd be okay.
Jeff's right. Kevin's always in the middle of stuff. Just look at the truck race here the day before. He gets together with Timothy Peters and he runs into him and cuts his own tire down. He spins it around. Then Lofton gets into him and he spins and he hits Lofton back once. No, not good enough. Twice. 3 times. Thank you. He's smiling afterwards, but too much action in one weekend. Hard to focus on Sunday after all of that. You know, for speaking his mind and being right, cigar indeed for Burton. And you know who else deserves one, Steve? The least popular man in NASCAR, Lance McGrew. He made a brilliant call keeping Junior out here, and Junior drives from 4th to 1st, and the crowd goes wild. Hey, he led more laps Sunday than he's led in the last 38 races combined. Good job there, Mr. McGrew.
Well, Spence, the track position that Lance McGrew got Dale Jr. was huge because we've seen all season long how difficult double file restarts can be.
You know, you're right. You could go from 5th to 2nd on pit road and then have a restart on the outside line and lose a bunch of spots. You know, I think NASCAR should let the drivers pick their lanes, like the drivers do in the short tracks across the country. Hey, this is the Legends Million race here from Charlotte a few months ago. See, when they get to this cone, they choose their lane. If somebody wants to bottom, no problem. They can have it. And a guy might jump from 6th position to 1st on the outside. It would add some new strategy for these drivers, man. I think that'd be cool. Oh, and speaking of things that need changing, these nationwide drivers need eyeglasses. Look at this wreck. I know tractor-trailer drivers who could have done a better job avoiding this crash. Look at them piling in. Holy crap. Hey, Jimmie, I wanted to make the hub highlight reel. Well, you did. Hey, the brake pedal is the one in the middle. Helps you slow down.
Oh, that's awesome, Spence. Good suggestion. So we have 4 towels. I got a scoreboard here, 2 cigars, and 1 bar of soap. Well, thank you, Jimmie.
Who will be the last man standing? No one covers the chase like NASCAR on Speed.
Now, Jimmie, I watched you on the hub last Thursday when I had the day off. I was out there in Texas. You said the 11 and 29 teams needed to get in the 48's heads. Bingo.
Hey, they absolutely got in their heads. But like Mike Ford said, the 48 started it. Look back at Kansas. How rude. Chad Knaus picked the stall right in front of the 11 team. Well, Mike Ford didn't forget. Great job to that 11 crew. Cigars for all of them. They beat the 48. And also, great job, Chad Knaus. That took a lot of cajoons to yank his boys and replace them with that 24 crew. The only mistake Chad made was not doing it sooner. This crew has been fumbling the ball all season long, all the way back to Vegas, Richmond. They've had problems with the tire changers front and rear all year long. And now, these right here, these are the chase races. Those mistakes cost valuable time. They lost 4 spots getting off pit road at Fontana here. And look at this, 3 spots at Charlotte. Chad didn't make the same mistake Childress made by waiting for the next race. Nipped it in the butt ASAP.
I think you said cajoons. Now, Jimmie, I want to get your take on something you have no experience with whatsoever, a physical altercation after an on-track incident. Jeff versus Jeff. Could you believe it?
I loved it. The only problem was, look at those NASCAR officials breaking it up. What were they thinking? It should be like hockey. Let them fight till one of them goes down. How much damage could they have done? They're both 5'3", 95 pounds soaking wet. But hey, I've seen this before, sort of. You know, remember Bristol 06, Kenseth oops into Gordon, and then Jeff gets out of his car, keeps his helmet on, and he shoves him? Well, Matt Kenseth finished second Sunday night, so he had to go to the media center. Oh, boy.
Have any more questions for Matt? Hey, I heard there was a fight today. Did everybody take their helmets off this time?
Another Cigar Award. Line of the weekend goes to that Wisconsin kid. Great stuff from Matt the Brat. Oh, and a cigar for Jeff for taking his helmet off this time.
That was great. And Jimmie, the email bag overflowing. We'll get to more Thursday, but I want to get this one in today. Brandon W. wants to know, why was Kyle Busch held for one lap for speeding on pit road under caution when everyone else gets a pass-through penalty or starts at the tail end of the longest line?
Brandon, we see Kyle Busch exiting pit road here. He sped down pit road to beat the pace car, and he does, but busted for speeding. They can't send him to the tail end of the line because that's where he's already at. Speeding on pit road is a safety issue. To protect the crew guys, even that slow 48 team, there has to be a disincentive to stop people from speeding to beat that pace car. And there is. They hold them one lap, just as they should have. Now, Kyle's reaction after they held him? Uncalled for. He should not have told the NASCAR official to read between the lines. But I think I know what fueled it. Let's go back to the Saturday final restart, Carl versus Kyle. And look at the arrow. Carl accelerates way before the line. See it here again? Edwards jumps the restart. NASCAR didn't call it, much to Kyle's unliking.
Carl Edwards jumped the restart by about 3 lengths before the double red marks.
Did you bring that up with NASCAR?
Does it matter?
Dirty mouth. Bar of soap. But why might Kyle be so upset? Let's go back to Phoenix earlier this year. Kyle's leading, and as they come to the restart line, he barely jumps it, just barely. Let's look here again. He might have gone maybe 3 inches early, but NASCAR made the call. Black flag. So I could see why Kyle was so frustrated with that no call for Edwards, who clearly jumped way early in Texas than Kyle did in Phoenix. Inconsistent. This doesn't make any sense. It's like Clint Boyer and Loudon. The car's illegal enough to be penalized 150 points, but hey, you still get to keep the win. There's no logic there. NASCAR doesn't want to change the winner after the checker flag, but the rules are the rules. Sometimes it's justified.
Spence, all that stuff and no crying towel?
Maybe Thursday.
I think I'm going to cry because there's no crying towel.
I'll bring you one, Steve.
Who will be the last man standing? No one covers the chase like NASCAR on Speed.
So we're throwing a couple of questions today.
Hey, Steve, there's been a lot of great stuff in the inbox, so lay it on me.
All right, this one is my favorite. Dennis H. says, Jimmie, I just get all choked up when I see someone cry. And, well, when we saw Denny H. crying after the race, it ruined my day. Why can't NASCAR just give the race to him? Because he was so fast all day long.
Poor Denny. He was so fast, but he just didn't have the gas. And after the race, this nice guy tries to give him a water bottle, and then no water. I hate water. All we do is win, and then we finish 12th. But he composed himself afterwards, and he gave a polite interview. Take some notes here, Kyle Busch. But Denny, you said all chase long, with 3 to go, you were going to get aggressive. Waiting till 3 to go. Why wait? I've questioned this strategy because you never know what's going to happen in the final 3 races. Listen to Denny here after the race.
The last 4 weeks, you've had pretty much the fastest car everywhere. Where does the extra speed come from?
I pressed the gas down harder. I mean, it's just, like I said, I told you I was going to step it up, and that's what I'm doing what I said I was going to do.
Denny, stop picking your nose and listen to me. Why weren't you stepping on the gas harder at Dover when Jimmie won and you finished 9th, or at Kansas when you were 12th and Jimmie was 2nd? And you should have pressed a lot harder in Talladega when you backed off and you lost the draft. Could have been disastrous. Choosing not to give it your all early in this chase could come back to bite you.
And speaking of the championship battle, interesting question from David S. Jimmie Spencer, with 3 different organizations having drivers in title contention in Homestead, does this open the door to team orders like we see in F1? What would NASCAR think of this?
I don't know what NASCAR would think of this, but there are are a gazillion different scenarios that could take place in Homestead, but I think this one here could be the most likely. Let's say somebody like the Bip. Hey, he led the most laps, but he's out of contention late. And the top 3 final lap are Jimmie, Kyle, and his teammate Denny. They all led a lap, so their points would be 190, 175, 170. Denny would lose the title by 5 points. Unless Kyle pulls over, and now Jimmie's 15-point deficit going in is erased. And they tie. The tiebreaker goes to this guy. With the most wins, then he wins this championship. So what if it happens like that? And his teammate gave it to him. Tons of things could happen in the Homestead. This is only one scenario. Hey, but Burns, it could get really interesting.
Wow, that's a lot of math, Spence.
Who will be the last man standing? No one covers the chase like NASCAR on Speed.
Now, Jimmie, I know you've said you weren't looking forward to another championship going to the 48 team, but come on, you've got to be impressed with their performance.
Hey, 5 in a row is very impressive, but already everybody wonders, 6, 7, 8, 10, 15, who knows? But I want to play the Chad's reaction when he was asked, when does the drive for the six-pack begin?
It's already started, so we got
beer. We like beer, so it works.
Yeah, it fits right in, man. So I got some hard discussions to have with Jimmie this weekend about some testing that he's gonna have to take part in. And but here's the fact. I mean, the 2010 season ended 2 hours ago.
Can you believe that? Most normal people would simply be enjoying and celebrating their championship. But Chad, he's already talking about testing for 2011. This is why they're so good. They rarely ever take their eye off this cup.
And, Jimmie, they got some help on Sunday with the 11 team's troubles, and you think the 11 team might have made a crucial error.
You know, Steve, I couldn't believe watching that race and them on pit row when they made the repairs to the splitter twice. Not once did I ever see them string the car to check the toe. After the race, Denny even said the toe on the right front was off. The car never ran the same after the crash. They had plenty of chances to fix it. They made a lot of questionable calls. That team, it just fell apart.
All right, we've talked about the top 2, but Kevin Harvick was also in the mix all day, and we've gotten a lot of emails regarding him. Spence, here's one from David M. Very popular topic. I'm very disappointed in NASCAR to the point that I may never watch again. No. Jimmie Johnson was handed the cup. I'm not a fan of Harvick, but he was cheated by NASCAR. How could you get called for speeding when you're between 2 cars?
First, David, I understand how Kevin's reaction over the radio seems to have swayed so many people into believing that he wasn't speeding. No driver ever speeds, but he was speeding. We're going to look at his onboard. First, we're going to speed it up a little bit. Look how much ground he gains on the 99 car. Now, we're going to play it again slow down. The gap to the 99 car shrinks quite a bit. Kevin said that NASCAR told him his speeds were 49.6, 49.5, and then 50.8. He gained a lot of ground on the 99 car and was speeding in that third segment coming in. Now, about what you said, NASCAR giving it to the 48, that's crazy. NASCAR wanted to see the championship battle be as close as possible. That's why they're talking about making adjustments to the chase next year. So why would they want to eliminate one of the contenders? It just doesn't make any sense. It's unfortunate for his team and his fans, but Kevin was speeding. He got busted into Fontana too. This wasn't even the first time for him.
Wow, you're all cranked up. Interesting video, Spence. But we've got one more email on Harvick. Judy W. says, Jimmie, I think Kevin Harvick should be named the champion of causing the most dollars in damage to his competition. In this economy and how expensive racing is, he should be recognized for his give-a-care attitude.
No, think back to Pocono. That championship goes to A.J. Pull My Finger. But Saturday, Harvick lost the nationwide race to Kyle. And Sunday, Kyle raced him clown-like, as Happy said, and Kevin was frustrated, and he had enough. And hey, Shell's leaving. He didn't care if he scratched up the Shell logo on the front end. It's getting repainted next year. And Kevin says, hey, M&M's melt in your mouth, or at Homestead Miami Speedway.
So Jimmie Johnson doesn't get a cigar or anything, just the trophy?
Oh, man, I'm so frustrated with having to defend Jimmie Johnson. He's an awesome champion. And you know what, Steve? 6'7" is not out of reach.
I agree.
Who will be the last man standing? No one covers the chase like NASCAR on Speed.
Welcome back to The Hub. In July, the winners of the following prestigious awards included Carl Edwards for Dirtiest Move, Joey Logano for Worst Soundbite, and Denny Hamlin for Best Driver. Who will take home the Jimmies tonight? Let's get Spence. These are major awards for the second half of 2010. Who's taking home the first Jimmie Award tonight?
Rick, first up, I'm giving out the Head Scratch Award for Brain Fade. Here are the deserving nominees. Worst Brain Fade. Mike Ford at Homestead for not bothering to string Hamlin's car to check the tow. George Gillette. Who the hell is that? Oh, that's right, the guy who drove a once-winning organization into the ground. Dennis Hamlin and Kevin Harvick at Dover for fighting in practice while Jimmie Johnson was at the top of the speed charts. Tony Stewart totally blew the race at Loudon over a few ounces of gas. The winner, George Gillette. Let's see some video of the winner. Oh, what's that? He's never at the track? Oh, maybe that's how he took Ray Evernham's old winning race team and led it to near bankruptcy. Brain Fade of the Year.
All right, good start. And you're definitely qualified to hand out the Brain Fade Award. Sorry, I saw an opening. What's the next award, Jimmie? Rick,
It's the Boxing Gloves Award for the biggest cajoons. These are the guys who made the gutsiest moves this year.
Cajoons? I think you might mean cojones.
Tomato, Rick. Here are the nominees. The biggest cajoons. James Boucher. It takes a pair to wreck the Danica. Kyle Busch. Running away from Coach Gibbs. I wouldn't even do that. Jeff Gordon for beating Jeff Burton like a red-headed stepchild. Chad Knaus swapping the pit crews mid-race. Holy cow! Hey, the winner is Jeff Gordon. I think he's trying to avoid looking old. Hey, you know he's got the AARP next year.
Oh, the sponsor change. Well, the gloves are a nice trophy. What's next?
Eyeglasses. Sometimes I just think that these people, they can't see too well. Who needs eyeglasses? How about Mike Ford for not being able to see the mileage calculator in Phoenix? Jimmie Johnson and Ryan Newman. Depth perception needs to be checked there, boys. Juan Pablo. He needs some glasses so he can see where the walls are. Oh no, another one! The winner is Mike Ford. He gets 2 trophies though. The eyeglasses, since his obviously don't work, and a big calculator. The numbers are extra big so he doesn't cost Denny another championship.
Well, you're obviously not sparing anyone, Spence. You're tough.
Hey, it's a big boy sport, Rick, and I'm not done yet. How about those team players who forgot which team they're on? Take a look. Worst teammate. Matt Dabba, whatever, and Brad Coleman. Matt hits the wall. Brad decides that I'm coming to help. Maybe you should have used the brake pedal instead. Kevin Harvick and Jeff Burton. Kevin is just so mad because Jeff won't get out of his way. The 48 pit crew for almost derailing the drive for 5. And the 24 pit crew for jumping in and stealing all the glory. Hey, special trophy for these guys, a 24 car for the old 48 pit crew. Because after what went down at Texas, this is probably the only car you'll get to change tires on next year. They had pit crew tryouts at Hendrick Motorsports. Not a good sign, boys.
Well, surprisingly, you've been a bit long-winded, and we've only got time for one more Jimmie. Which award is the final one for tonight?
Well, I'm a talker, Rick, and I just love some of the funny and dumb stuff other people say. So let's take a listen. The worst soundbite.
The first person I got to thank is Kyle Busch for driving dirty, sucking me down, and getting me spun out to give us the gas. I mean, that's why we won the race.
Carl Edwards jumped the restart by about 3 lengths before the double red marks.
Did you bring that up with NASCAR?
Does it matter?
I'm sick and tired of this. I'll get my own damn uniform back on and take care of this. He ain't gonna kill my boy.
Kyle Busch is an ass.
Oh, this one's easy. Microphone award for crybaby Bob Keselowski. He should get a second award for the lip quiver. Rick, I think this one deserves a crying towel, too. Double award winner. He's going to get his uniform on. What for? So he can go battle with Kevin Conway? He'd be in the back. Oh, I'm so upset, my boy.
Well, thanks, Jimmie. Hey, we're out of time tonight, so we'll do the final awards tomorrow night. And also, I'm hearing we're going to get you maybe to show us a few of your rehearsals.
You ready? Ready? Green flag, green, green.
Welcome back to NASCAR Race Hub. Mr. Excitement is hubbing it. And Spence, it looked like you got plenty excited over the finish Sunday.
Them cameras, I can't get away from them. But a great move by Kevin. I really enjoyed it. But you know what, Steve? Cigar time. I think the first one might be a little surprise. But it goes to Kyle Busch. He was very gracious Sunday after losing to Kevin Harvick. Happy easily gets the second cigar. And I got to say, I think he definitely learned a lot last year at Fontana, making sure he kept it off the wall this time. But how about Michigan last year also? Does this look familiar? Beating on the back of Dennis here when 11 was leading and making the winning move on the outside. Hey, Steve, also, remember last year at Fontana, Johnson caught a perfectly timed caution to get him out in front of that race. Remember what Harvick said afterwards?
Jimmie's a good friend of mine, but there's no way of getting around how lucky they are. They have a golden horseshoe stuck up their ass, so it's, I mean, there's no way to get around that.
The 48 team is lucky, but a late caution worked into Harvick's favor this time, so...
Do you have a lucky horseshoe up your ass now?
I hope it stays right on up there, because...
I had some jokes here, Steve, but you know what? This is a family show. Move on, move on.
Smart move, Jimmie. Now, also, it was surprising to see the Fords not perform up to par at Fontana Sunday. Toyotas dominated early. Chevys came on strong at the end, but the Blue Ovals were absent for most of the day.
You know what, Steve, I'm going to tell you, I think that there might be some more trouble in the Ford camp on the horizon here. Carl Edwards was quoted this weekend talking about his contract that ends this year. He said, I don't want to mess anything up by focusing on the contract right now. We'll just see what happens. If he really wants to drive for Roush, I believe Jack would have signed him, already re-signed him. I believe he's going to Gibbs. You know, also, UPS, 3M, Crown, Affleck, all of those contracts for Roush are up at 2011. Jack's got a lot of work ahead of him, baby. Good luck, Jack.
All right, Spence, you've covered Kyle, Harvick, and the Fords. What about the second-place finisher Sunday, Jimmie Johnson?
You know, Steve, I was baffled when I heard Jimmie Johnson's post-race interview Sunday. He kept saying he got beat by fresh tires. Listen to this.
Just couldn't hold them off that time. Those tires made the difference. Wish that we could have won the race, but I was really loose as well and knew that the two tires were coming. You know, I hate losing one coming to the finish line like that, but I did my best to hold off the tires.
Now, why would Jimmie Johnson think that Kevin Harvick had fresh tires? I don't know.
See you, man. Thanks, guys. Good job today, Jimmie. Sorry the car wasn't a little bit better. Was he on tires? Yeah, he took two tires there at the end. That's four.
Chad, what the hell are you talking about? Look! Here was the last caution. Kevin's car, it's black. He stays out. See the 29 car there? Oh, my God, Chad. He's right in front of you. Oh, he's on the track. Oh, Chad, you never make mistakes like that. Why did you fib to Jimmie? Not only do you get the towel, you get these here glasses I bought for you. These things here, so you can see pit road clearly. They're travel size, but you can keep the towel, too, so you can keep them clean. I'll get it laundered for you.
All right, Jimmie, thanks for joining us tonight.
No, wait, Burns, I'm not done yet. I'm not done. I got to talk about the 14 car. I'm wondering what in the world happened to Tony Stewart at the end of that race. He sank like a rock. Look, we're going to find out here now. Watch this. He's going to talk to Dick Berggren. Oh, my God. What happened, Tony? Oh, don't ask Tony Stewart that, Dick. Don't ask me questions. You'll have to come up with answers. Not today. I'm a multi-millionaire, and I can't be bothered by you people to tell me why I lost. Oh, God, yeah.
The double crying towel. A race up first. Thanks, Spence.
Don't miss the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race, live on Speed.
You know you are the best part of my Thursday, but right now I'm super excited to get home and prepare to watch the royal wedding, which is just a few hours away.
I have to admit, I'm excited too. I was going to go, but I'm going to Richmond. The nationwide race is on Speed. Have you heard?
Yeah, I think I heard that a time or two. It's tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern, but let's put you to work. On to the report cards. You're grading the top 30 in the standings tonight, right?
Yes, I am. And here's the first top 10. Carl Edwards, A-. Very solid start to the season. Harvick is the only driver to get an A. Back-to-back wins. He blew up at Daytona, but he's still fourth in the points. Hey, and Juan Pablo, he gets a K for keeping it off the wall so far this year. Chip must have told him that's not the object of this race.
I like that. They didn't hand those out in school for me. All right, Jimmy, they all make sense. But what? A C for Jimmie Johnson?
He sets a high standard for himself in that team. He's only got one win so far. And he went below the yellow line to get it. But the C is for the clientele. Oh, remember when he got all over NASCAR's backside for busting him for speeding at Martinsville? Then a few days later, he was like, okay, I'm sorry. Don't find me like Denny. Oh, boo.
I don't think he went below the yellow line, Jimmy. We're moving on. You also had high marks for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Hey, who you're usually pretty tough on, my boy.
Hey, he very well might be the most improved driver this season. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is working well with Jeff Gordon's old team. Steve Letarte leading them. He's doing a great job. And you know how great? Look at these average finishes in the first 8 races of these years. 2011 is Junior's best start to a season since '04. And he's gotten off to a stronger start this year than he did in his very first year at Hendricks in 2008. He ran really strong that year. This could be a big year for the 88. I'm pulling for Junior Nation, and not just so that I'll get more Twitter followers either.
I know. I hate that you have more Twitter followers than me, and you just signed up like a week ago. That's not fair. Let's look at the next 10.
Hey, it's hard to believe the names that are in this second group of 10. How about 11th place, Paul Menard? One of the most pleasant surprises. He could get his first win this year. And a C-S for a couple past champs. Stewart and Gordon have struggled in a lot of races. And an F for my old buddy, the Biff. The F is for fighting me earlier this year in our meeting. He still hasn't won. So I was right. I said if he'd win more, we'd talk about the 48 less. But look at the 17th place. Oh, Dennis, bordering on a clientele. Hey, Denny Hamlin only has a single top 10 finish in the first 8 races. Those are Jimmy Spencer numbers. And remember how poorly he ran at Texas? He swept both races there last year. Something's going on with that team. Like I said, just one top 10 so far this year. In his Cup career, he's never gone 8 races at the start of the season with less than 2 top 10s. And it's happened this year. Very suspicious.
I smell you, Spence. And finally, 21st through 30th to cap off your schooling season. Let's take a look.
Usual suspects back here, except for Jeff Burton. And he gets a Y because every time I think about him, I just, yawn. He bores me. But very surprised to see old Rudy Tootie in 26th. Vickers has had a lot of bad luck too. Saddled him in 28th. But he still gets a B- for some strong runs. Hey, how about Jamie McMurray? He gets a D. Hey, his only good run is at Martinsville here. This is his only top 10 this year. And remember, he won the Daytona 500 last year? Well, here's a little nugget. The last 3 guys to win the Daytona 500, Harvick, Newman, and Kenseth. The year after the Daytona 500 wins, they went completely winless the following year. Hope McMurray breaks this trend. Hey, thanks, Danielle. Hey, did I also tell you the nationwide race is on Speed tomorrow night?
Don't miss the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race, live on Speed.
Hey, Spencer's here. The big kerfluffle on the action track was the Montoya-Newman incident and payback. What'd you make of it?
I say cigars for Juan Pablo. You got to stand up for yourself. You know, this was before halfway. Ryan should have used some common sense here. So Juan Pablo gets him back. Hey, but someone disagrees with me and Juan. Hey, roll it here, guys.
Every time Montoya has damage, you usually see whoever did it, they end up getting wrecked. So you usually know that's coming. But you got to realize, in Montoya, I like him. I think he's a hell of a driver. But you can't wreck everyone every time you get in an accident. Accidents happen. You know, guys make mistakes. You know, why hold grudges and wreck guys? I just don't understand that. Makes it tough to get in the chase that way, too.
Oh, Dennis, you're killing me. Remember what happened last time you talked some trash about another team in the media center? This. Harvick retaliates in practice because you accused RCR of cheating all year long. And then, in the garage, I got a new nickname for you, Denny. It's Mibbed. Mind your own business, Dennis. Concentrate on your own team, please.
Wow. Earlier in the show, we saw you with Ryan Newman's diary. What's up with that, Spence?
Well, Steve, listen to what Ryan said after he went to the NASCAR hauler.
Go there unrequested.
What the hell does that mean?
Hey, well, you weren't called there, you just went to talk.
Is there something wrong with that?
No, it's good.
Okay. Do I always? No, I don't know. I don't keep track of that thing.
What happened on the first?
I have to look at my diary.
Hey, Burns. You can buy almost anything you want on the interwebs. I found Ryan's diary. This one started all the way back since he was at Purdue. September 16th, 2000. This Drew Brees guy, I don't think he's going to make it. Buzz. Jumping ahead to the racing stuff. April 9th, 2006. Everything's bigger in Texas, including Sterling Marlin's screw-ups.
Something happened in front of us. I saw Casey Mears get sideways. I'm pretty sure Sterling Marlin's hairpiece just cut down in his eyes and he couldn't see what was going on. So it was unfortunate.
Oh, Burns, he's a wise ass, isn't he? I'm starting to tear up.
A crying towel?
April 25th, 2010, 6:30 p.m. I hate restrictor plates. NASCAR fined me $50,000 today. Hopefully Smoke will pitch in.
These shouldn't be points races. If we want to have races for the fans, just let us come here and do that, but don't let it affect our championship because it's not racing. If it's NASCAR racing, we should be here like Talladega event marketing or something. I mean, it's something different besides racing.
Oh, that was an expensive rant, Burnsy. August 15th, 2010. I will never, ever, never shop at the Home Depot ever again. Oh, this was fun. Joey got a little loose and he spun Ryan out. And Ryan got into his face after the race. Don't touch me, Joey! Everyone, keep your hands to yourselves. Oh, I'm Ryan Newman, and I'm so hard. It's so hard to be the smartest driver. No, the smartest person in NASCAR. They don't understand the pressure I'm under. Everyone's always screwing up around me. I never make mistakes, but I still keep crashing.
Is that a crying towel? there, little Jimmie. We'll see you on Thursday.
Don't miss the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race, live on Speed.
How's it going, Mr. E?
Wow, it's a very accurate description of the two of us. But first off, Steve, I gotta mention how PO'd I am. Old Dennis Hamlin here, he makes it 3 wide under Clint Boyer. And then Aric Almirola up on the outside there. Neither Dennis or Clint backed off, and Aric running for the nationwide championship. Bam! Man alive, he got the fuzzy end of that lollipop. Listen to him here.
This is a product of 3 wide at Darlington. It's unfortunate. You know, those guys come down and race for fun, and if they crash, oh well. And we're racing for a championship, and that kind of stings a little bit.
Well, I've got an idea for Aric. Remember how well he ran at Homestead at the end of last year when he was in that number 9 car? He finished in the top 5. Well, Aric, next time you get into a cup car, not racing for the points, just drive Dennis's butt into the wall. Hey, he's done it to you in a series that he's not racing for points in. Fair is fair. That's a Mr. E rule.
A mystery rule or a Mr. E rule? Well, now that you've said your nationwide piece, what about the cup race? Regan winning, Kevin and Kyle? Who gets the crying towel? The suspense is killing me.
Whoa. Before I get the towel out here, gotta give a cigar for Regan Smith and owner Barney Visser. But what about the guy who finished second? Carl, at this point you finished second to Trevor Bayne, who? And Regan Smith, who? In the 2 biggest races of the year so far. No, I really like those guys, but Carl, they're not exactly cagey veterans. Stop being such a lame duck. Quack, quack, quack. See? This is how it's done at Darlington. Really racing. Coming to the line, you know? That you know how to make wild and aggressive moves. Look here, Kansas. I missed this, Carl Edwards. This was heroic. You got a 2-race lead on 11th place in the standings. And you're already won a race. You're pretty much a lock for the chase. Go for the wins. The bonus points, dude.
All right, Spence, here it is. Moment of truth. Whose side are you on? Kevin Harvick's or Kyle Busch's?
Well, Burns, let's take a look at it. Watch them coming off turn 2 here. Kevin has plenty of room on the outside, but he stays off the wall, and as a result, he gets into Kyle. Then, going into turn 3, he hits Kyle again. No reason. Then they make contact again off 4, and Kyle's had enough, and he brushes gently against him. I think it's kind of hard to blame Kyle. He got ran into a lot beforehand. But my advice to Kevin Harvick would be, chill out. Hey, you're going to have a hard time winning a championship when you keep having incidents like this. I could have made a whole show out of the run-ins you've had. You and Biffle, you and Ricky Rudd, you and Nemechek here. This wasn't even Joe's fault. Same deal with Juan Pablo. He didn't even do anything here at the Glen. And then getting into it with Dennis in practice at Dover last year. Oh, and remember Homestead last year? Came back to bite you, didn't it? So, Kevin, you gotta... the crying towel. Kevin, why didn't you take your helmet off? You're a badass, aren't you? And how you gotta pay a $25,000 towing bill. That's a no parking zone. Didn't you know that? Hey, I'm happy Harvick. Wasn't even serious. I even kept my helmet on. All I wanted to do was make Kyle leave a Darlington stripe in his pants. Me and my crew were just trying to scare the M&Ms out of him. Oh, I'm gonna be in so much trouble with Delana. She would have took her helmet off for sure.
There, little Jimmy. We'll see you Thursday with emails.
Don't miss the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race, live on Speed.
This guy's Facebook fans have started a campaign for president for him. Mr. E might be for Mr. Electable.
President of what, though, Danielle? But you know, whatever it is, it'd be huge.
Hey, I'm saying move over Donald Trump. You've got better hair and you're qualified to answer emails. So first up, Valerie W. in Rockford, Illinois wants to know, can a driver be penalized points for an infraction during the All-Star race even though the All-Star race isn't a points race?
You know, that's a great question, Valerie. So I wasn't sure, so I called Mr. Helton. He said, while they do love the boys have added policy, they don't want the All-Star race turning into a free-for-all. And he said it is possible that a driver could be penalized points for an incident in the All-Star race. Highly unlikely, but possible.
I'd vote for you, Jimmy. Next up, Chris M. in Seattle, Washington says, Carl was given the nationwide race at Dover. He was several car lengths short of the white flag when the yellow came out. There shouldn't have been one more green-white checkered. Perhaps Jimmy has the answer?
I do have the answer, Chris. You're right. The caution flag comes out before Carl got to the line. But NASCAR has always used the caution lights, not the flag, to determine when the track is under caution. You know, and since Carl was past the start-finish line when the lights came on, that's the end of the race. And the reason they use the lights versus the flag, because the lights are all around the track and everyone can see them. But the flag is only at the start-finish line.
I gotcha. And speaking of the end of that race, Jim H. in Plantation, Florida says, I thought when the leader takes the white and the caution is out, the race is over. So how come NASCAR allowed another lap after the Logano-Boyer crash and allowed the guys who were still rolling to finish ahead of them?
You know, Jim, even when the race ends under yellow during a green-white checkered, the final lap still has to be run. And on that final lap, you still have to maintain the pace car speed. The race isn't over till the start-finish line. Ask Mark Martin, Bristol, 1994.
I love race fans. They don't let anything get by them, Jimmy.
No,
they
don't.
One more question for you. Chuck from Tampa, Florida asks, Jimmy, aren't you afraid the drivers will lose concentration and wreck when they try to look at themselves as they go by the new big TV screen on the backstretch at Charlotte? I love this question, Chuck.
Well, absolutely. You know, Chuck, think about this. The drivers like Carl Edwards posing shirtless on magazines, Dennis Hamlin taking off his shirt for the TV commercials. Hey, you know, they're going to catch sight of themselves in HD on that old big screen, and then they're going to totally wall it.
Jimmie, if you took your shirt off on the Jumbotron, that would be large and in charge.
It would be overexposed.
Before we let you go, we saw the Jimmie Johnson planking picture before the break. What's up with that?
Well, I'm going to tell you something. This is a new hip thing. It's big in Australia. Now, it's even gotten big right here at Speed headquarters. Planking is laying face down in places you normally wouldn't. Thought this was impressive, but Jimmie's critics saw this picture and said, well, Chad just set the cars up for him. It's not that impressive. Couldn't do it without Chad.
I try not to think too much, but that even hurts my forehead.
Well, my man's planking now.
That's scary.
I know. He's cool.
All right, as long as he's still breathing. Thanks a lot, Jimmie.
You ready? Ready? Green flag, green.
He's promised multiple crying towels tonight, and he's here to deliver. Jimmie Spencer, I've been waiting all day. Where are they?
I got him right here, Steve. For the first one, the crash with Martin and Dillon. This was Mark Martin's fault. He turns in too quick. Knows he's 3 wide. He gets into the 34. Mark turns left too fast. But he sure didn't think it was his fault at all.
We just got collected in a wreck. You know, we got collected in a wreck. I was running on the outside and got, collected. Just don't get the respect, and I got collected. I don't know really what to say about it. I got collected in a wreck.
Mark, when you turn left and you hit someone, that's not getting collected in a wreck. That's causing a wreck. Look at this. Afterwards, Mark and David, they look like Carl Edwards stole their friggin' lollipop. Oh, it's heartbreaking and pitiful.
All right, now, there, little Jimmie. Now, we were talking during the break about the yellow flags Sunday night. You have a comment to make about them.
I do. But let's hear from some of the drivers first. After one of those cautions for beverage cans on the track, listen to Smoke.
It's harder when you can't find it when he calls where it's at. You go down there and you can't see it. Makes it hard to keep from running over it.
And Jeff Burton, he didn't like the no caution call at the end either.
Appreciate the caution, NASCAR. You guys are really, really nice. You got the debris caution for nothing earlier, and then we spin out and sit in the middle of the racetrack and you don't know anything. That's perfect. Perfect. I want to tell you something, man. After years, so done.
That sounded like a Caterpillar dump truck backing up. Beep, beep, beep. But Burns, I think this is how it went in the tower. Oh my God, Junior's leading. But there's a caution. Should we throw the yellow? No, the 88 is in first. But look, the 2 cars smoking, throwing debris. I don't care. Don't throw the flag. Junior does not have enough fuel for another restart. And then he ran out of fuel. Oh, God, I got it. Oh, no, Steve. Look, it's the big one. And it's for NASCAR. Oh, will the most popular driver ever win again?
Now, Jimmie, if the track's clear in the closing laps in the past, NASCAR, they've avoided throwing cautions.
Yeah, I've got it. I got to figure it out. Beer cans, caution. Wreck race car shreds of metal, clean and green.
Jimmie, listen, I'm going to end this before you get in trouble.
No, one more, Steve. Wait, listen.
Blowing up is Jimmie Johnson.
Be kidding me.
Caution, and we apologize for Chad Knaus's language.
Oh, real classy, Chad Knaus. That poor guy, he never gets a call goes his way.
All right, now I'm saying goodbye, Jimmie.
You ready? Ready? Green flag, green.
So, Jimmie, question of the week. Who gets the crying towel, Busch or Childress?
Patience, Burns. I'm pacing myself like the Dallas Mavericks. I want to talk about Kurt first.
Well, we did get a lot of emails about the elder Busch's up and down race. Ron P. in Muskegon, Michigan wants to know, Jimmie, do you agree with Steve Addington's decision not to short pit with everyone else and instead run him out of gas with 10 to go? If he had pitted with Jeff Gordon, he probably would have finished 4th instead of 9th.
No, I don't agree with Steve's call because it didn't work. If it had worked, I would be giving him a cigar. But more importantly, what did Kurt Busch think of the call?
Ran me out of fuel, champ. Ran out, leaving the box. Got some back in it now. We had 259 as being our max. I don't give a
He just always says the nicest things, doesn't he? And Burns, you mentioned right at the start of the race how Kurt didn't like his car, you know? The same car that went on to lead over half the race. Let's hear what he had to say.
Knocking the fence down tight. I don't even know where this tightness came from. We'll be 43rd before we pit.
He was a real joy over the radio Sunday. But listen to him once the checkers fell.
Sorry about that, Kurt.
10-4, no problem, guys. Just hang your heads high. We ran good today. Damn it, we ran real good.
This cracked me up. It went from, this is the worst car in the field, and I don't give a bleep, to,
no problem, guys. Just hang your heads high.
Oh, boy.
Also, before we get to Kyle and Richard, what's on the chalkboard behind you? WWCKD.
That's a message for my buddy Tony Stewart. WWCKD, wicked. What would Chad Knaus do? First off, Smoke, he'd fired up pit crew instead of the competition director. Pit crew cost you a couple races this year. Gave you the air hose to take with you to the casino at Vegas. They would have won the pit crew challenge. They beat the 48. They got a 10-second penalty for, oops, fuel. That would have been nice to have that extra fuel Sunday at Kansas. Didn't get it full there, so here you had to pit again. Hey, let's listen to the Smokes post-race.
We had a problem getting the fuel in, and we didn't get it full at that the second to last stop, so it made us have to pit there with about 10 to go. So there's nothing you can do. I mean, our guys are doing a great job. They did a great job all day.
There's nothing they could do different. Filling up the fuel tank would have been nice. What's with this polite Tony Stewart? He needs to think more like the Chad.
All right, Spence, there were too many good emails on Busch and Childress, too hard to pick. So what's your take on the incident, and who gets the towel?
Steve, I'd like to talk about Kyle's history with young drivers in the Truck Series for starters. 2 years ago, he's in the 51, racing Colin Brown in the 6 for the lead. Kyle turns Colin into the wall, takes him out, and he also takes Brian Scott in the same move. And then last year at Loudon, he runs all over Buescher on a green-white checkered. And then, what the? He flips James's off. James didn't do anything wrong. And Saturday, he had a great race with Joey Coulter for several laps there. Then Coulter doesn't quite clear him off of 4, but he does get the spot. And then, the waterworks start after the race. Oh, Kyle, he just can't stand him when any of these young guns in the Truck Series outruns him. And then he couldn't outrun Richard Childress after the race either. But Kyle, you can't beat Joey Coulter. Who? For 5th place in a truck race, and then you get your ass whipped by a senior citizen, Richard Childress. But Richard, you didn't even do any damage. No black eye, no bruises, no scratches for what? $150,000? Or maybe Samantha, she just did a real nice job on Kyle's makeup. Oh, the sun's so bright. Oh, what a funny guy he is.
There, little Jimmie. It's okay.
You ready? Ready? Green flag, green.
Jeff Gordon went to victory lane for the second time in 2011 on Sunday. Jimmy Spencer, you do remember what you had to do last time Jeff Gordon won, don't you?
Come on, Steve, no.
Oh, Spence, you were a man of your word, eating a cigar as you promised you would if Big Daddy won a race this year.
I'm not going to do it again, Burns. Oh, it's just so painful to watch. I manned up, and I did it once, and that's a plenty.
Fair enough. But does Jeff get a Cigar Award for his 84th career win?
Absolutely. Hey, did you know that Jeff Gordon and I have combined for 86 career wins? We're 3rd all time. And you know, I was surprised when Jeff said after the race that he wasn't shifting very often early. No wonder he's won so many races. Hey, he's very savvy. On the other hand, though, Tony Stewart, well, he tore his transmission up, and he was blowing smoke about it on the radio.
I lost 3rd gear. 10-4, bud, 10-4. Just want to thank NASCAR for having us shift 600 times a day. Appreciate that.
Thanks, NASCAR. Thanks, NASCAR? Did NASCAR build that transmission for you? Was the control tower pushing some remote buttons that were shifting your car without your consent? You know, this guy's on a show coming up after the hub with Lewis Hamilton, that F1 guy. They're getting in each other's cars. It's called Seat Swap. Maybe they should consider doing a follow-up show, Show Me How to Shift. NASCAR, you just can't do anything right, can they, Burns?
Wow. They're certainly not in an enviable position, nor was Kyle Busch on Sunday, feeling some heat from Kevin Harvick. Now, Jimmie, this ongoing Busch-RCR feud just seems ripe for a crying towel. Speaking of which, the towel made its debut on race day Sunday. You had the boys in tears after your towel for Kyle last week. What about this week? Anyone towel worthy?
You bet your ass, Burnsy. Roll it.
Running with Kyle Busch earlier, Kyle said he was running me pretty darn hard. Were you playing with him, Kevin?
He's only seen the beginning of it.
Okay. To me, this whole organization lacks focus. The team owner flies off the handle. He beats up a kid that's his grandson's age. Punches someone else at the racetrack. It's not tolerated by NASCAR. And goes to show you the mindset of RCR at times. Clint Boyer was cussing Kyle's name after he lost to him in a truck race at Charlotte. And now, Happy Harvick spends about 5 laps running Kyle all over the racetrack. Come on. Kevin ended up finishing 5th at Pocono. Imagine how much better he might have finished if he hadn't wasted his time here. Oh, Kevin, you know, you just need to grow up a little. And coming from me, that says a lot. Happy Harvick? You're just a big happy baby. Why don't you take a lesson from your new sponsor, Akuma? You know, Akuma Matata. What a wonderful phrase, Akuma Matata. It means no worries, Kevin. Just chill out a little, please.
There, little Jimmie.
Grow up, Kevin.
Oh boy, from eating a cigar to the Lion King. That's our Jimmie Spencer.
You ready? Ready? Green flag, green.
Oh my goodness. Spence, we heard earlier that you're giving out your favorite things. Which is up first?
First is a Cigar Award, and it goes to the driver of the 51 James Finch car, Macaulay Culkin, Landon Castle. Ooh, you know, he was Danica Patrick's understudy for a while last year. He learned a lot, like what not to do. He had a fantastic run Sunday, 12th. Great performance in that equipment. I'm only giving out 1 cigar there. Very expensive. I can only be so generous.
All right, a cigar for Macaulay Culkin, Landon Castle. But who gets the real prize, Jimmie? The crying towel.
You know, it was like Sophie's Choice this week. So many drivers said some things that got my tear ducts on Twitter. Here was the first one, 5-time, about his 4-wheel slide.
Yeah, we got turned around on the backstretch.
Whoa.
And
I must have heard that wrong. Play that from the start again.
Yeah, we got turned around on the backstretch. And
You got turned around? Really? Let's look. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I see it now. There's an invisible car. Who was driving that invisible car that hit you there, Jimmie? He's so fast you can't even see him. Whew. Almost, James. And then Jimmie's teammates got into it. You know, here's what Junior was thinking. Oh, I got lots of room on the outside. Mark's going to stay down on the yellow line. He's not going to move up. Nah, he's going to stay down there. Oh, Mark! Why did you move up all of a sudden without any warning? Apparently, Junior's throttle spring broke, and, you know, he's car, but he couldn't get off the gas. And look at him here. He's trying to hit Mark back. Hey, and let's remember, Mark Martin, he's the dirtiest driver in the garage area. Listen to Junior post-race.
I try really hard to take care of people, try not to be careless, and I don't like putting up with carelessness, and that just really pissed me off what happened out there. If the tables were turned, I'd have been smarter and given plenty of room. Still, I take better care of people than that.
If you were in the same position, you'd give more room. Really? Would you?
88 just run us all up to the goddamn curb.
Holy cow, Junior. You weren't even close to hitting the 51 car there, and Reagan was on your outside. Look at how much space is there. I could have drove my double wide through that gap. Almost, Dale. But the winner of the towel, Kurt Busch. He was being slightly unpleasant on the radio again. Hold on a second while I pick my jaw up off the floor. He took a jab at the media. Gotta blame somebody, since they've reported on his meltdowns in the past.
I'm so pissed off right now I can't see straight. Ooh,
God. Kurt gets the towel. I couldn't even understand what he was saying. He was crying so hard, poor Kurt. How could anyone ever accuse Kurt having a meltdown on the radio?
Fox won't turn every week. Roulette with the tires. Does it matter? I don't care. I love to hit the fence head on and get knocked out. This is bull. We're pretty much because we got a damn team. We're a bunch of idiots running around with no idea what we're supposed to do. We tried to tell somebody back in August, but no, Kurt's just got an attitude. I'm sorry, guys, but I've just lost all composure.
Is he done yet? Oh, my ears! Oh, my ears hurt!
My jaw really was on the floor for that one. That was pretty impressive. Thanks a lot, Jimmie.
You ready? Ready? Green flag, green.
Speaking of big deals, well, Mr. Excitement is here, hubbing it out. He's going to shed some Tuesday tears, I hope. But first, Jimmie, I know how you like to lead with the nice stuff. Now, I heard you're giving out 4 cigars to 5 people. What's the deal?
Steve, it's a tough economy. I can't just be going all crazy giving these stogies away. But the first one goes to NASCAR for Boys Have At It. I have to applaud NASCAR for not reacting Sunday and letting these drivers take care of it themselves. The second one goes to the Double Deuce driver. Kurt put on a clinic Sunday, but really, his whole team deserves cigars for sticking with him. Takes a strong group to rally behind a guy that's custom 6 ways from Sunday. Third, Cousin Carl, for keeping his buttons to know where it belonged. He's looking good for the title. And fourth one gets split between Smoke and Little Brian. I loved how they handled it. They owned up to their actions after the race. It was great to not hear these drivers making excuses.
A split cigar. Now, do you ever actually deliver those cigar awards?
No, because half the time I've given the same guy the crayon towel the week before. So it could get awkward, Steve. I'm afraid when I go up to them, they'd be taking their watches, their rings off. You know what I'm saying?
All right. I noticed the message you've got behind you on the chalkboard. What's wrong with turn 4?
Everything. Check this out. First of all, why in the world would you put a speed bump in the middle of a corner like this? And look at the angle of this wall. It's dangerous. It's the most dangerous corner in all of NASCAR. Imagine if someone hits that wall and ricochets back into traffic. It would probably look worse than this. Watch. Oh, hey, I was there when that happened. Scared the heck out of me. Lucky Sam and the Jeffs were okay. Hey, Watkins Glen fixed that corner. Infineon Raceway needs to do the same thing before something bad happens.
All right, finally, Spence, you said that you and the driver getting the towel this week have shared the same sponsor. I'm thinking Target.
Ding, ding, ding. You're a smart man, Burns. But this week, he was in the Cottonelle car. Hey, roll it, please.
They just don't give me any room, so it's hard. And the 2, I got in his bumper, moved him a little bit, got beside him, passed him, and he just, plain simple, just wrecked us. You know, it's hard when people don't know how to race in road course and they think they do.
Oh, I see. It's everyone else that doesn't know how to drive on the road courses. I got some Cottonelle with a towel, too. But Juan, can you explain this? I think Kyle knew what he was doing. He was just trying to stay on track. And oh, you got Newman there and on board with Casey Kane. Oh, eyes okay, Juan? And bad bread at the end? It's better to give than receive. Juan, you got a taste of your own medicine, pow. Now, Steve, I don't know if you remember, but Jimmy Spencer never forgets. And I suggested Juan Pablo read some literature last year when he was stuffing Chip's cars into the wall every week. It was called How to Drive Better and Avoid Accidents. It's a classic. He might want to check this baby out from the Mystery Library. But you know, he really needs the towel. Did you hear what Casey Kane said to him afterwards?
Last year when his cars were really, really good and Jamie McMurray was the man, Juan still couldn't win a race. It shows about what he can do in NASCAR anyways.
What? He's talking about you? And he's right. Oh, 1-1.
Okie dokie. Cheers from Jimmy Spencer. Thanks, Mr. Reeve. Every time.
You ready? Ready? Green flag, green.
Now we get to welcome in 1994 Daytona victor Jimmy Spencer. Hey, Spence, you realize David Reagan, who you've been hard on over the last couple years, he now has half as many career victories as you. What about that?
Hey, Burns, thank you. I'm just glad that you mentioned that I won. But Cigar Award, not to David Reagan, Matt Kenseth. Great teamwork. On the other hand, the Stewart-Haas teammates, they didn't plan on working together all night. I'm guessing that old Dennis Hamlin and Ryan Newman, they bonded over their secret $50,000 fines and decided they'd try to give NASCAR the finger and finish 1-2. Hey, but more surprising, Stewart and Gilliland. Again, with their history? Seriously, am I the only one who remembers this?
It's David Gilliland in front of him. Ralph?
All right, Tony, your perspective, what happened?
The kid's an idiot. We're just following him in practice and just all of a sudden checks up. I'm just really curious what that idiot's thinking down there. I mean, he's done stupid stuff all year. You know, he took us out at Talladega twice. He doesn't do very many smart things out there.
Huh. So, anybody want to bet me that Smoke will be drafting with, I don't know, maybe Brian Vickers at Talladega, maybe?
Maybe so. All right, earlier you said you wanted to talk about what went on behind David Reagan at the Checkers, like the big wrecks?
Yeah, particularly the one at the finish. Hey, check it out. Here's David Reagan. Woo! Hey, first career win, but there's a crash. The caution's out. See the light there? Well, a full 8 seconds after the lights come on, the Three Stooges blast through. Awesome Brad Keselowski, if you don't believe me, just ask him. Sweetie Kurt Busch and David Gilliland. That's Newman in the spot shadow. The race is over. Not for the Stooges. And NASCAR let them keep their finishing positions. That's a bunch of crap. They should have been penalized back to the last car on the lead lap. NASCAR, you need to address this. It's as dangerous as it gets.
Wow. And finally, Jimmy, you mentioned that you had something to say about Junior Nation. You sure you want to go there?
Yes, but I will be having someone else open my mail for the next few weeks. But they went ape on Jimmie Johnson's Twitter page. After the 48 pitted without the 88, perish the thought. But here's how it went down over that radio.
I don't know. I thought he was stick with it. I don't know if I am better out front, Jimmy. He pitted, so we got to figure something out. I don't agree with that. I thought we were going to stay out. We were 50-50, and he pitted on us, so we got to see what happens here.
So it was just a miscommunication. Somehow the Chad and Stevie got their wires crossed. Big deal. But Junior Nation spammed Jimmie Johnson because of it. Why? Jimmie doesn't make the calls. Chad does. So if Junior Nation wants to bitch about it, do it to the Chad. Hey, his email address is CKN.
Whoa. You can't be giving out people's email addresses on the air. What? They're there, little Jimmy. Why are you crying?
I'm just so upset Junior crashed again. And Junior Nation drank too much imp. They've taken to the streets. It's been an emotional weekend. Fireworks scare them.
All right. Every time.
You ready? Ready? Green flag, green.
Now, Jimmy Spencer's hubbing it. Now, Jimmy, you've given out plenty of cigars for excellence, bars of soap for potty mouths, and you're known for giving out the crying towel, my personal favorite, but you're introducing a new award tonight.
In a bit, Burns. First, I want to talk about the double file restarts. Hey, they were an issue Saturday night for the guys on the inside. I think NASCAR should let each driver choose their lane. For instance, everybody's coming to one to go here. The outside was the preferred line at Kentucky, so maybe first through fifth might decide, hey, I think I'll stay up top. But the guys in 6th and 7th, they see the inside wide open, so they take it. A few more guys might prefer the top, then a few more could fill in the bottom. Hey, if they want to risk it, it would add a new element of strategy for the drivers. Plus, hey, we wouldn't hear them whining about which lane they got stuck in.
All right, so the new award you've been mentioning is?
Not yet, Steve, not yet. First, I have a reminder for the truck boys. Don't get on the outside of Ron Hornaday. Here he was racing Cole Witt Thursday night. And he drives in the corner way too hard, takes poor Cole out, and ends up collecting a few more trucks behind him. Oh, ouch. Hey, I've been a victim of his recklessness myself. Look at this. Lucas Oil Raceway, 2005. I'm on the outside. Hey, it's obvious he can't see out his right eye. He runs me into the wall. He tried giving me excuses after the race, but I was like, oh, Ron, no. So I said, just stay away.
Jimmie, you look scared of him there.
I was scared, all right. Scared of the damage his face was going to do to my fist if he got too close. Hey, but you know what? Ron's done that tons of times. Hey, Ron, somebody's outside you here. Whoops. How about Nashville here? Objects in the mirror closer than they appear. Watch out. The Union's up top here. How about this one? 2008 going for the title. Lap 1. I couldn't believe it. Then he ran over Rowdy Busch again. This was in Texas. And then Kansas here. He and Sauter, hey, saved it, but this could have been ugly. But anyway, drivers beware of Ron ruin your day. I mean, Hornaday.
Jimmie, look, we're almost out of time, so it's time for the new award.
All right, Steve. Take a listen to what Bruton said on race day at Kentucky.
In your opinion, and you're a smart guy, you know racing better than anybody, in your opinion, this could become the biggest race on the schedule. Do you still feel that way?
There's no doubt in my mind. And I you know, see, and these people know it too. Look at that. Look there. These nice, wonderful people from Kentucky, they know that this is number one.
Kentucky, it's going to be bigger than the Daytona 500, bigger than the Brickyard 400, the Coke 600, the Southern 500, the night race at Bristol, the Talladega races. How about the All-Star race? Bigger than Martinsville, Watkins Glen, or Richmond? Come on. Kentucky is going to be the number one race on the schedule? The only passing going on in the race Saturday night were the race fans passing out. So, Bruton, you get the very first drum roll, please. Straight Jacket Award, because you must be freaking crazy if you believe Kentucky is going to be the number one race on the schedule. Here you go, Bruton. I'll get you in there.
Thanks, Jimmie. We'll see you Thursday unless Bruton has put you in that thing by then.
You ready? Ready? Green flag, green.
Tuesday is Trophy Day on the Hub because Jimmy Spencer drops by to hand out some of his prestigious awards. Who's deserving of the cigar and crying towel honors this week, Spence?
Burnsy. It was hard to narrow them down. But before I get to those, Steve Wallace hit everything but the pace car in Loudon. And then, when he squeezed Brian Scott down and crashed, well, he just couldn't deal with that. Listen to what he said about his buddy Brian Scott afterwards.
I like Brian, and it's weird because me and him, you know, we hang out just about them every night there in town, but he's wrecked every race this year.
It's Brian that wrecks every week? Well, I don't know why it's weird that you two are friends then. I always assumed that you two hung out because both of you crash every week. There's one thing that you have in common. It's friggin' tearing stuff up. And look, here they go, mowing grass like it's a competition. No, I'll out-wreck you this week. No. I'll wreck you way more than you. Watch. I heard the nationwide car owners have a plan in the works. They're going to pay you two to stay the hell home. They come out way ahead.
So does Steve Wallace get the crying towel?
No! I'm afraid he'd wreck it. Hey, but Burns, I'm ready for the awards now. The first Cigar Award goes to Sprint for that awesome $3 million promotion they announced, which starts at the Brickyard. Now, the second Cigar Award, it was going to go to Ryan Newman. What an impressive weekend he and Tony Stewart had. But, unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to give this to Ryan. I don't know if you heard him, Steve, but listen to what he said in Victory Lane Sunday.
This is big Sprint summer. Was it Summer Showdown, $1 million, all that stuff? We got that in our back pocket as well. So just look forward to Atlanta for that as well.
No, Ryan. The Sprint Summer Showdown doesn't start until Indianapolis. Unfortunately, your Loudon victory does you zero good for the big money. No cigar.
Oh, now Jimmie, we heard earlier that the Cigar Award and the crying towel were going to the same person. So far, you've only given one to Sprint. So which driver gets the cigar?
Rowdy Busch. 100 wins between the top 3 series. That's huge. What a racer. And 49 wins in the Nationwide Series alone. Stupendous. Cigar Award for Kyle for Saturday. Sunday, however, he and Dale Earnhardt Jr. get together, tire to tire. Some smoke comes off the right front, and just a couple of laps later, the same tire blows out and he hits the wall. So the logical, reasonable, makes the most sense question for Kyle would be, did the contact have anything to do with the tire going down? Well, don't try to sell logic to Kyle Busch.
Did any of the contact with the 88 help with the situation here?
There's been contact with everybody on everybody out there, so nice try making a story.
Rude. I'm Kyle Busch. How dare anyone ask me such a simple, reasonable question? I have 100 wins. Have you not heard that? Have you not heard that? Oh my God! they keep making up these stories about me, and they get away from me, Chris W. Bully. No, wait, Burns. Before I go, look at this. This is going to be the stupidest thing I've ever seen at a racetrack. And friends, I used to race with these Bushes, so that's saying something. Unless one of these guys happens to be Stretch Armstrong, I don't know how they think Jamie McMurray was ever going to see this sign. Look how far away it was from pit road. That magnifying glass would have helped Jamie, though. Good grief.
What? You're on fire.
You ready? Ready? Green flag, green.
And another part of my Tuesday that I love so much, Jimmy Spencer. How you doing today, Mr. E?
Hey, I'm good, Danielle. But where's Burns? Is he using the dentist excuse again?
No, he's not in as much pain this time. I think a little R&R never hurt anybody, right? First up, Jimmy, this might have been the most talked about topic from the weekend. Barbara L. says, tell Jimmy Spencer to give that pastor who gave the opening prayer at the Nationwide race a cigar. He showed more passion than 98% of the people who give the command to start their engines.
First of all, Barb, people don't tell me what to do anymore. Except the speed execs who have told me plenty of times, don't touch the 3 R's, race, religion, and politics. Things like this are not my area of expertise. And I learned from the other Jimmie on Twitter. He spoke about taxes, and man, some fans ripped him a new one. Hey, if I answered emails like this, next thing you know, I'd be, did you see the driver's wife's outfit? And what did you think about the temperature of the beer at the track? Hey, I'm sticking to racing. So, moving on. One thing from the Nationwide race I do want to talk about, Danielle. Cousin Carl. Hey, he dominated that race. He's way out front at the end. What does he do? He takes his hands off the wheel. So my question is, Carl, why are you running this series at all? It can't possibly be fun if you're just running out front there all by yourself. But interestingly enough, Carl was quoted last week saying that he does not plan on running in Nationwide full-time next year. Which to me says he's going to Gibbs in the orange car. Because if he was staying at Roush, I think he'd be running Nationwide till his face turns as blue as the logo. But I don't see Gibbs providing cars for him and Kyle and Denny and Joey. Hey, he's the biggest free agent since Dale Jr. in 2007. The swapping is coming up will be huge, Danielle.
All right, well, that takes care of Nationwide, but the trucks were in Nashville too. And I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that you've got a pretty strong opinion on Austin Dillon and his post-race antics.
Hey, I will certainly get to that in a minute. But first, a Cigar Award to Austin. Hey, great win in the trucks Friday night on 2 tires. Hey, he really established himself this weekend. And then, how about this saving a Nationwide race? Whee! And he held on to finish 3rd. Very impressive. But, as you mentioned, Danielle, the post-race annex. I'm just not too sure what he was thinking here. I thought he was just really excited and he forgot his truck running to get the guitar, and ooh, that got to be the worst celebration I've seen since Kurt Busch's Snow Angel. Ooh, can anyone imagine anybody besides a Busch doing something so stupid? Even nice guy Carl Edwards mocked poor Austin the night before. Jeez, ooh, hey, I'll bet you Austin wishes his truck had this much grip every week. He'd be winning nonstop. So, it's time for the return of the Straitjacket Award. Because, Austin, you gotta be crazy if you thought sliding across the grass like that was going to turn out well.
How's that for a slide, old man? This place stinks, man.
See, he needs this jacket. Jimmie Spencer never forgets. See ya Thursday.
No. First the Biff. Now, Austin, you just got served, dude. We need to see that again. That was a pretty sick slide. All your stuff's on the floor, Spence. He can smell the dumpster from here.
You ready? Ready? Green flag, green.
The Sprint Cup is the big trophy everyone races for. But on Tuesdays in the Hub, Jimmie Spencer hands out some awards of equal prestige. Anything for Paul Menard, Spence? You know, he's the first guy to win in the number 27 since you did back in '94.
Yeah, he won the Brickyard 400 in the 27, but I was the first guy to crash in the first Brickyard 400 when I was in the 27. Obviously, it's a lucky number. We were both first, but he certainly gets a cigar. Hey, he drove a hell of a race. What a save he made when Kenseth was all over his butt for the lead. And then his drive through the grass here, woo-wee! Cigar for Paul, slugger, and a great call. Hey, and for John Menard, too, the perseverance he's had at Indy. Now he's won it, and most importantly, he gets a cigar. And also, a cigar for Jeff Gordon. Classy guy. Just listen.
I got to congratulate Paul Menard. I don't think there's anybody in this garage area that appreciates a win here at the Brickyard more than Paul. He grew up here as a kid, and I think that's pretty special, pretty cool.
Back when I was racing, Jim Hunter and the PR people at NASCAR would always tell us, listen to Richard Petty's interviews. These days, it's Jeffrey Gordon that the drivers need to learn from, a class act. On the other hand, this guy coming up, geez.
I felt like Jeff and I were the two best cars, but just really close with the Miller Lite Dodge.
This guy, I mean, every week he's got the best car, but he rarely competes for wins. I think he's trying to sell his superhuman abilities to the fans and the sponsors. But Brad, pipe down. If you've always got the best cars, why aren't you winning all the time? Come on, count this. 1, 2, 3 career top 5s. Talladega 09, you stayed out of Darlington this year, and you won a fuel mileage at Kansas. Please, less of this and more of this. And also, while I'm on the topic of Penske racing, guys, get ready. It's time for another installment of Kurt Busch Radio Sweetheart. Roll it.
Just very surprisingly tight center out. Gosh, horrible.
Hey, but some of them cars that got that time they took 2.
I don't need an explanation. I understand why we're back here. Back in front of you, on the top, in the middle, right here. Race cars, built race cars where you can't touch the grass. That is crap. Check the left front for damage.
You can shut it off if you want. I mean, you can leave it running. Just leave it running. Clean the grill.
You can't tell me to shut it off and then leave it running. I already shut it off. It's 310 degrees. Like me.
This guy's got the worst temper I've ever seen. I'd hate to be his dog. Can you imagine this? You gonna feed me?
Jimmy,
you gonna feed me?
Jimmy, when I saw Stephen Wallace crash in the Nationwide race Saturday night, I've just been waiting to get your reaction to it. Is it possible that young Stephen is getting the towel?
Oh, sure he is, Burnsy. Oh, my gosh. For the 6,327th time he crashed. Let's take a look here. Now, James Busher breathes on his back bumper here a little bit. 30 minutes before the crash happens. Roll it. But you know Stephen. He's never been to a crash that he didn't want to be a part of. This one was very tough, though. These guys were stopped. Stephen, you literally hit a parked car. 2 of them. Now listen to him afterwards.
He bumped me a little bit getting into turn 3, and at the same time, my spotter said, check up, and I got in the brakes, and the car got sideways, and it just slid all the way through the corner. There was nothing I could do. I tried to nail it, to accelerate away from Michael, and just one of those racing deals.
Stephen, it's not just one of those racing deals. It's your racing deal. Crash. I crashed again. I crashed again. But he wasn't the only one. Look. Wait here. Is it a burn? Is it a burn? Is it a plane? No. It's Brian Scott into the wall again. You two guys are friggin' amazing. Keep up the good work. Crash, crash, bang, 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 crash, crash, bang.
You're killing me. I missed you last week. I'm glad you're not 310 degrees like Kurt.
My trophies,
Welcome back. This was the scene earlier today when Jimmie Spencer saw the damage that Stephen Wallace did to his office last night. Jimmie had given the crying towel to Steve for his Indy crash.
Stephen Wallace, you little son of a bee, you wrecked everything, including my office!
Last night, Steve tore up your office, and Spence, the cameras at speed are always rolling.
So this is what it feels like to be an idiot, like Spencer. These things are pretty nasty. I bet Spencer's been blowing in them. It's all this stuff, you know, he can't read. Doesn't need them. This is what it feels like to be Spencer. I got cigars here. I don't smoke them, I eat them. This thing kind of looks like Spencer. Personal stash. See you, Spence.
Stephen, I like you, but I know where you live. You best get your ass back here and help me clean this mess up.
Hey, those stogies aren't cheap either, Spence. You go for the good stuff. Well, last week, Jimmie, you said that Brad Keselowski needed to do less talking and more driving. He sure showed you.
You know, after he listened to my advice last week, he won. So maybe he should listen to me more often. But I need to clear something up.
Nobody gave you it. You didn't luck into it. That's a way to earn the old crying towel there, buddy.
I never gave him a crying towel. However, Cigar Award to Brad and the 2 team. Great pit call, very classy in victory lane. And Danielle, on Twitter, Nate Ryan tweeted Brad that I should do a mea culpa. Well, Brad said, not sure what mea culpa means. Hope it entails eating a cigar. Well, Brad, I had to look it up too. It doesn't have anything to do with my cigars. But if you make the chase, I will eat my cigar. Because at the next 5 tracks coming up, your most recent finishes at those tracks, 20th, 25th, 18th, 25th, and 36th, those don't sound like top 20 numbers to me. But if you prove me wrong, like you did this Sunday, I invite you to come sit here with me the Tuesday after Richmond, and you can watch me eat my cigar in person. For Roger Penske and all you guys, bad. I hope I have to, but it don't look good.
You're putting it all on the line here, Spence. I like it. Brad says you're still mad about the truck race from 2005.
You know, I recall that. Back then I said I was going to rip his head off and shove it down his neck. But I don't live in the past. That was then. Hey, this is now.
Well, Spence, the big fireworks at Pocono came on the final lap, but it had nothing to do with your boy BK. His teammate Kurt Busch and Jimmie Johnson went at it, either of them getting a cigar or crying towel, perhaps?
Well, you know, Danielle, we'll get to that in a minute. Because first, it's another edition of Kurt Busch Radio Sweetheart. Roll it.
I'm tired of fading at the end of these other races. Boom. Come on! Well, we won the Pocono 400. This is the most pathetic racing I've ever seen. Have we ever thought about making our cars faster? Glad you got an in-car camera in here for me.
Kurt was not happy about that camera. You know I'm watching, don't you? But after the last lap run-in that Kurt and the 5-time had, I don't understand Jimmie's problem. Watch them here as they exit turn 1. Did I say turn 1? The 48 clearly turns down into Kurt. And Kurt, hey, he hit him back, an eye for an eye. Oh, but listen to old JJ here on the radio.
Just killed our car.
Oh, Jimmie, you hit him first. And listen to what he said after the race.
Off of 2. He claims I turned down on him off of 2, and I don't have a clue. He ran over me on the corner exit, and that's where it all started.
It all started in turn 2. Jimmie, it was turn 1. I made this map for you the next time you go back. It shows you where the corners are. You ran into Kurt in turn 1. Why don't you just put this map in your memory bank where you said you're keeping track of all those guys who hit you? Oh, that's right. You never hit anybody. I'm flawless Jimmie Johnson. It's never my fault. Look at my shiny 5 trophies. I think they're clouding your memory, Jimmie.
Jimmie, if somebody steals your crying towel, I think you have a lot of tissue to dry your tears, thanks to Stephen Wallace. Thanks so much, Jimmie. We'll see you Thursday.
You ready? Ready? Green flag, green.
Man that always creates TV gold. Jimmie Spencer is here. What's on your mind tonight, Spence? I can't wait for this.
Burns, I wasn't always the brightest bulb in the cookie jar, but I like what NASCAR has done for the fans. Between this simplified point system and the new wild card element, the big guys at NASCAR have really hit on something exciting and easy to understand. That's great for guys like me.
I think I know where you're going with this one, Spence. Simpler is better, right?
That's right, Steve. The big honchos at NASCAR did us all a favor this year by simplifying the point system and adding this wild card element. Now drivers, they can get hot late in the season and be rewarded for their efforts. Hey, no more heading to Richmond in 15th or 16th place at the points, having no chance at heck of making this chase. Look at drivers like, Brad Keselowski. Hey, he's been on fire. He hasn't been great all year, but look at his last 4 races, 4 top 10s, including a win at Pocono.
Well, the new system highlights wins, and with Brad running so well right now, he could potentially get himself into the top 10. You'd have to eat a cigar. That would allow him to carry over his bonus points from those wins, too.
Hey, not only that, Steve, but consider this. If the Blue Deuce manages to get in the top 10, someone would have to drop out. As it stands right now, it would either be Smoke or Junior. Hey, the fans on those guys might disagree. But the way NASCAR has structured this new system, everybody has the same opportunity to get in. And let's not forget about our friend Denny Hamlin. Hey, he has 1 win right now. He could grab 1 or 2 wins before the chase. He has 6 wins in the short tracks alone, with an average finish of 10th or better. He also won at Richmond last fall. So with Smoke and Junior out and Denny and Brad in, that leaves a free for all. With these 1-win drivers, they get a wild card spot. I mean, Marcus Ambrose, he could actually still make this chase. Hey, I don't have a cat in this fight, but I hope the fans are as excited as I am about the next 3 races.
Exciting indeed. From the guy who, from down under to our neighbors of the north, your good buddy, Steve Wallace, made front page news at Montreal.
You know, now, Burns, not many people know this, but I was a race car driver once, and it does not take a race car driver to see that a car won't fit in this spot. Listen to what he said.
Me and Carpentier were racing really hard, and I got underneath him. I tried to outbrake him. He crowded me.
No, Steven, he didn't crowd you. You friggin' wrecked him. I'm not surprised that Jerry Baxter did what he did. You're lucky that's all you got was a hair pull. He could have messed your face up.
Obviously, Baxter was upset. I'd be upset too. Yeah, but only girls pull hair, so.
He could have broke your freaking nose. Oh, Steven, just be thankful and say you were sorry.
All right, little Jimmie there.
You ready? Ready? Green flag, green.
Now, speaking of Twitter, that's where, Jimmie, your whole issue with Brad Keselowski began. Jimmie, he and his fans didn't like your comments about him after Indy, where you said he needed to do more driving and less talking. Well, he did.
Yeah. I'll get to that in a minute. But first, Steve, I was watching Larry Mack's show NASCAR Performance. Booty Barker's on it, too. And so is some other guy, talking about whether or not NASCAR drivers are athletes. Take a listen.
I think a gentleman, male, female, whatever it may be, driving a race car is definitely an athlete, I think, by definition. Now, is Jimmie Spencer an athlete? Absolutely not. So I think that you have to go back and look at that.
I'm not an athlete, Chad. Wasn't I a winning driver? You clearly don't remember Richmond 2003. I was at NASCAR's official crash test dummy for the new safer barriers, and I walked away just fine. And what about this? I like to see you fling a 236-pound man off your back. And Hornaday, he wrecked me here, but I've got an athlete's mind. Look at my self-control I show here. Hornaday tried to get up in my face after the wreck, but I kindly said, no, thank you. Oh, Chad, I'm not so sure that you should be talking about athletes. Because everyone knows the only thing you know about athletes is how to fire them. Oh, Chad, you couldn't make it like me as a driver. So now, why don't you just stick to firing pit crews and stop thinking about me? Leave me alone, Chad, you twerp.
There, little Jimmy. Moving on to Brad Keselowski.
Oh, okay, yeah. Hey, good call, Steve. Hey, there was something I wanted to try to clear up. We got a lot of emails about Brad and that Bristol pit road and why he technically was not speeding on those super fast drag racing exits. This is the map the teams were given of pit road. See all the red lines on here? Those are the timing lines, and the cars are only caught speeding if they go under a certain elapsed time between these lines. Brad had pit stall number 12, right after the start-finish line and this timing line. And since he's setting in his stall for 13 seconds during a pit stop, he can essentially go as fast as he wants until he gets to the next timing line, towards the end of pit road. There's the line, and his stall, that's why he was able to fly past these guys on exit, because it doesn't matter how fast you go on any particular line. There's no radar guns on the cars. It's the duration of the time you spend between the timing lines. Great job by Brad and that 2 team.
All right, nicely done. That's a good explanation, Spence, but we're almost out of time. So let's
Burns, if we're out of, I'll see you Thursday then.
No. Let's show everyone what you said 4 weeks ago about Brad Keselowski's chances of making the chase.
If you make the chase, I will eat my cigar. Because at the next 5 tracks coming up, your most recent finishes at those tracks, 20th, 25th, 18th, 25th, and 36th, those don't sound like top 20 numbers to me.
Anything looking tasty in there to you?
All right. Where's Brad? Hey, get Brad in here. Now, he's not a mathematical lock for the chase yet. But you know what, Brad? With your impressive performance these last 4 weeks, you're pretty much a chase certainty. But I got to ask you, quick, first, second, third, and first in the last 4 weeks, everyone he says, oh, look how well he's running with that bum ankle. But I think, look how well you've run since you stopped running that Nationwide car. Do you think it's got anything to do with it?
Jimmie, just shut up and eat the cigar. I got a new thing for you. Crying towel, crying pie.
You son of a bee!
Banana cream, I know it's your favorite.
Hey! That's my favorite.
I know, it's your favorite.
Thank you.
Hey, I might have some too.
Hey, no cigar pie. That's a lot better. That's good.
Nothing like getting to put a pie in the face of one of your biggest critics. Spence is a man of his word, though. He did take a big hunk of the cigar. Beautiful replay. And as we promised, that is TV gold.
I think it turned out good. That's TV gold, man.
That's good, buddy.
All right, boys. Nice job.
You ready? Green flag, green.
Fresh off his involuntary pie tasting Tuesday night, banana cream pie, I believe, Jimmie Spencer's in the hub to answer the fans' emails.
Why do you keep showing that, Burns? I'm not embarrassed or anything. It's just, it makes me hungry.
Banana cream. On to the emails. Tim B. in DeBerry, Florida wants to know, in reference to Brad Keselowski and Matt Kenseth, why is passing under yellow allowed on pit road? I thought they were supposed to blend in. Wasn't passing to the left on pit road outlawed years ago?
You know, that's a great point, Tim. And I brought in this list that NASCAR handed out to the teams at the beginning of the year. There are 36 possible violations. And number 5 reads, all passing on pit road must be to the outside on entry. It's kind of confusing to me, but the rules don't address pit exit. Let me read that again. All passing on pit road must be to the outside on entry. Now, the reason that no passing is allowed on the inside on entry was because of this incident. Watch the 15 of Michael Waltrip and the 24 Jeff Gordon. They try to Gordon tries to pass Waltrip here on the inside of New Hampshire, but Waltrip turns into his stall. Jeff didn't realize Waltrip was pitting there. Whoa! But also, take another look here. Now, the crew guys get knocked down, but check out my buddy, old Chad Canals. He runs out on pit road, hey, with no helmet. You know, he doesn't really need one. He's hard-headed. He's not checking on the crew. He's checking on the car. Oh, my God, amazing. So, to answer your question, Tim, NASCAR's pit road rules don't say anything about passing cars on exit, but entry, it can be a lot more dangerous.
Okay, JD in Auburndale, Florida wants to know, didn't NASCAR make it a rule that drivers were not allowed to jump on the roof of the race car? If so, why did BK get away with it?
Yeah, this is a no-no because NASCAR measures the roof height during post-race inspection. They sent Jamie McMurray's car home from Bristol because it didn't fit the templates there a few years ago. But lucky for Brad, the car passed inspection, or he could have faced a big fine. Or NASCAR did, you know, what they do every now and then. Damn it! Everything's just falling apart in this office.
JM in Magnolia, Arkansas says, I'm going to ask a silly question, so just bear with me. The noise at Bristol is unbelievable. Why doesn't NASCAR do something to quiet down the cars?
God.
You can't even communicate by screaming to someone next to you under caution.
Jay, there's a reason it's called Thunder Valley. Part of the mystique of Bristol is the noise. Mufflers are for wusses. They sound like this. Wee, wee, wee. No. That's what they're supposed to sound like.
First race I ever saw, Spence, Beltsville, Maryland. They ran mufflers, and you're exactly right. Finally, Kim B. writes, I heard your interview with Kurt Busch on Tuesday about his crash at the tire test in Phoenix. When a car is at a Goodyear tire test and they wreck, does Goodyear have to pay to replace the car?
Yes, Kim, when a team crashes at a Goodyear tire test, Goodyear does pay to replace the car. Now, speaking of Kurt, I know how a lot of people love our Kurt Busch Radio Sweetheart pieces. Unfortunately, we weren't able to record any scanner audio at the tire test after that crash, but I have an idea of what Kurt probably said over the radio. So it's time for a special edition of Kurt Busch Radio Sweetheart. Today, played by Jimmie Spencer. Damn car ain't handling worth a Would you do that? It's just a tire test. 2007, NASCAR ruined my career with this car tomorrow. Crash! Oh, of course, I get the tire that blows out. Damn it! Thanks a ton, you freaking idiots! I hate Phoenix. They let Kenny Wallace drive my car here once. Danica lives here. Worst racetrack ever. At least there is no in this camera here now. In my opinion, I think it went something like that.
I hope we beeped that out. Well, this is a rare treat. Jimmie has let me sit in his big chair. I'm borrowing his. This is not a smoking.
You got the wrong end of the cigar.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
This is not a smoking cigar. Jimmie has a distinction. There are ones you smoke. They're very pleasant, and this is just a chewing cigar, right?
You're right.
Okay. And
Hey! Don't waste those things, Burns. Come on, man. The fans, they appreciate good stunts.
I've always wanted to use a crying towel.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
I don't do it as good as you do, Spence. You left some crackers, too. All right, these are fun questions. Just fill in the blank at the end. The first car you ever owned was?
67 Chevelle. A red one. This kid took it, and he put these black stripes all over it. And I bought it at the auction for $700.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. And I'm like, I don't like that paint job. So my buddy, Bobby Jacoby, good friend of mine.
Bobby.
Oh, yeah. You know
Bobby?
Bobby.
I know Bobby.
We're going to the car show this weekend. And he says, I think I can clean that up. We take some compound. He starts buffing it. And that thing comes out like a mirror. The guy says, man, you can take that back to the auction. You get twice as much money for it now. And I said, no. And I drove it. It was awesome. It was a fun car.
Okay. 67, right?
67 Chevelle.
My one weakness is?
Food.
I'm with you, brother.
I eat, my favorite meal my mom used to make, roast beef, mashed potatoes, and corn. Now my second favorite's pork and sauerkraut. If you ever had pork and sauerkraut, you take pork and you roast it. My wife makes it really good in sauerkraut, and then you put potatoes with that. And it's as good as it gets. You just got to sweeten the sauerkraut a little bit.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
All right. I like that. What is the craziest email? You answer a lot of email questions. What's the craziest email you've ever gotten?
Can't.
You can't say it.
No way. I mean, they're all right, but some of them are.
I got you. Woohoo!
Yeah.
All right.
But some of them like me.
And some do. Some like you. I know. I'm watching you, Spence. Fill in the blank at the end of the sentence. Every single day
when I get up in the morning, I thank the good Lord that I'm up. I do. I really believe in the good Lord, and been with my wife for 29 years. We have 2 great kids, and I'm telling you, every day it's a new day, and I look forward to it.
You know what's great about you and I? We both married way over our heads.
No, quite. I know you did.
I outkicked my coverage.
You did.
I know.
Me, I tell people I saved her from being an old maid.
How'd you do that?
Marrying her.
She wasn't going to be an old maid, dude. If you didn't come along, she was going to get married.
Actually, the one guy that was dating her, we had a pretty heated argument.
Did you take care of him?
I took care of him. I said, no longer, baby. Patty, that's my girl.
You're with me. Okay, last.
No, she's with me, not you.
That's what I said.
Whoa.
No.
Okay.
Clearing that up. This one I think is interesting. This is the last one. If you could be an animal, what would it be?
My dog.
Because your dog's spoiled. You have to tell.
I have 8 dogs, but I have one, Riley, and she gets anything she wants.
What kind of a dog is she?
She's a Chihuahua mixed with a Schnauzer. And then before that, I had Dharma, who was a white Schnauzer, and she died. And she had cancer. She was only 2 years old. I spent a lot of money. I kept her alive for a while. Then I had Busch. I had Freckles. I watched Freckles being born. Love animals. I especially love dogs.
Does Riley, tell the truth, does Riley sleep in the bed with you and Pat?
Yes, she does. And she sleeps right next to me. I have to turn on my back, and she makes sure she doesn't sleep at the bottom. She does, typical. She has to be against you. She only weighs about 18 pounds, 17 pounds. So, but I love her.
See, you're not a tough guy.
You ready? Ready? Green flag, green.
Welcome back to NASCAR Race Up. Let's flash back to last evening. Spence knows how to make an arrival.
Hey, that was cool, man.
That was. Hey, it's not your turn yet, Spence. Oh, there you are. Tomorrow night, speed will be hubless. I know, due to Barrett-Jackson, Las Vegas. So we get a Wednesday edition of Mr. Email. Thanks for coming, Spence.
Hey, I'll do anything for the team, Steve. Pretend I still got a 27 on my side.
Well, just on that topic, Justin B. in Rocky Mount, North Carolina writes, "Hey, Jimmie, nice job breaking the Paul Menard story last week. Do you think that competition director Scott Miller leaving Richard Childress Racing this week has anything to do with that controversy?"
No, Justin. I don't think Scott leaving has anything to do with the Menard deal. I think he left for one reason. I bet Michael Waltrip and Toyota dangled a bigger carrot for old Mr. Miller.
All right, Brian B. in Buffalo, New York wants to know, Mr. E., what did you think of Paul Wolf's gutsy strategy call to leave Brad Keselowski out on track with 100 laps to go when everyone else came down pit road?
I love seeing crew chiefs make big, risky calls to try to win races. But Paul's call Monday was gutsy in the worst way. They won Kansas and Pocono earlier this year on great calls, but this one seemed bound to backfire. Brad even questioned it. However, they still ended up with a 5th-place finish. So I'm going to debut the Lucky Stripes Cigar Award to Paul Wolf and Brad K. You guys were fast, but you were also very, very lucky.
Another award. Next up, a question about your slide buddy, Austin Dillon. Jerry M. in Webster, New York wants to know, who will field the car for Austin Dillon's first Cup race? Kevin Harvick Incorporated? RCR already has 4 full-time teams. Isn't that the limit?
Not exactly, Jerry. They could only have 4 full-time teams, but you're allowed to run a 5th car for 7 races for a rookie driver. You might remember Hendrick Motorsports did that with Brad Keselowski in a 5th part-time car in 2008 and 9. Had some great runs, too. He outran Junior. Big shock. Hey, can't wait to see how my buddy Austin does, though. I predict that he'll be doing a slide to the infield after a Cup race. in the next few years.
He called you the old man.
I know.
Finally, Spence, we've gotten a lot of emails about the fuel mileage finish at Chicagoland. Bob Kagan, Brevard, North Carolina, who called me a butt kisser, says, put a huge gas tank on the cars to get rid of fuel mileage racing and ban coil binding. It makes the cars drive like go-karts, and my grandmother, who's been dead for 60 years, can drive a go-kart.
What in the hell? Well, first off, Bob, I don't think you or your long-extinct grandmother could drive a Sprint Cup car. As far as fuel mileage, it doesn't matter if you've got a 10-gallon tank or a 50-gallon tank. The cautions are going to fall just right at some point, and the fuel mileage will become a factor. Case closed.
All right. Well, thanks, Jimmie.
Rattle me up, man.
Have a lot of fun at New Hampshire with the Mighty Modifieds on speed at 1 p.m. Saturday.
I'm excited about it, Steve, being in the booth, baby. Bringing back some memories. I'm excited to be at the Modifieds.
You gonna have a tie on and a blue blazer?
Are you crazy?
That's my man.
You ready? Ready? Green flag, green.
Mr. Excitement is here to hub it out. Now, Spence, you said that Jeff Gordon's team wasn't cutting it. 3 wins, 5th in points. Please explain.
Steve, they've definitely had their bright spots this season. But I'm getting tired of seeing Big Daddy lose races he deserves to win. Like, how about Loudon back in the summer? Alternator problems, had a chance to change that battery. And then, how about Indy? They got beat by pit strategy. And then Michigan, he was leading until the 17th beat him off pit road. Come on, geez. Then once again, pit road at Bristol. The 2 team picked a better pit stall. And of course, Richmond a few weeks ago passed Harvick late until you know who spun. And the 2019 beat the 24 off pit road. And finally Sunday, they ran him out of fuel. And Jeff Gordon, the most composed driver in NASCAR, was not happy about it.
I'm running right now. Now I'm out. Now I'm out. 4 fuel, 4 fuel. Go, go, go. That was not very spy right there.
Whoa. Jeff was upset. Cigar Award anyways. But Alan, in that 2014, I'm pulling for you guys. But consistency is the key. Come on.
Well, speaking of Hendrick Motorsports, I know you're just itching to talk about the 48 teams radio.
Oh, you betcha, Burns. I've never heard Jimmie Johnson so flustered. Hey, check it out.
What's that 32 doing? Just let him go, bud. Okay, moving over. All right, bud, now let's roll. Well, that's 1 more car to worry about. Let's get those belts tight. You ready? Sounds real encouraging. Come on, dude. Dude, your cheerleading's terrible. I'm going to drive my ass off. Don't sweat it. Just watch. Prove it, baby. Come on. You're actually annoying instead of helping. Just let me go out and do my thing.
Holy cow. Jimmie, be careful when you belittle Chad over the radio like that. You make him feel this big.
Mini Chad. Finally, Spence, we heard a deluxe edition of Radio Sweetheart is coming. Have you got it ready?
Steve, it was originally 6 minutes, but here's the best 60 seconds of Kurt Busch, Radio Sweetheart. Oh, this is going to be crazy.
Radio check 1, 2. That's 17'4" on that last stop. I don't need assistance in who took for what tires. We do need assistance, however, working on a car on a flat racetrack where cars don't turn or stick. We knew this going in. Glad we think we're ready to win this chase. We need to get ready to be not on stage in Vegas again.
Got 7 races to go here. Let's keep our head in this thing.
10-4. Let's be positive. I raced this hard for last in my life. This is awesome. Nothing you did there helped.
We're going to put some right front packer in it, bud.
Isn't that going to take camber out of it? Just go ahead, do what you guys want. I'm sure you got computers in there to tell you what to do. Glad we're making all the highlight reels now. They don't worry about nothing about racing. We just worry about what goes on radio chatter.
Oh, yeah, Kurt. I love you, baby. Job security. But you know what? Somebody needs a crying towel. It's Roger Penske. Kurt, you're such a freaking meanie. And look here, Roger was talking to Elton before the race. He said, "Oh, I don't care about the car failing inspection, but please, Mike, help me. Make a rule of some sort so that Kurt can't be so bitchy over the radio." Oh, someone help the captain, please. Burns. He wants to borrow my straight jacket for Kurt. I'm thinking of renting it to him.
You gave the crying towel to
Roger, I feel bad for you.
You ready? Ready? Green flag, green.
Our very own lovable monster, Jimmie Spencer, is here with us to break down all the action on the Monster Mile. What's up, Spence?
You know, Steve, I found a number of things very surprising in Dover. Most of all, Jimmie Johnson not winning. Can't believe Kurt beat him. And now that Jimmie missed out on that victory, check this out. These are Jimmie's stats in the last 36 races from the last year of racing. Look at the win numbers. In the last 365 days, Jimmie Johnson has only won a single race. Hey, and if you remember, he only won that race by inches. This was earlier Talladega this year. He barely won this race over Clint Boyer. Actually, now that I look at it, I'm not sure he did win. Look at that, close.
Like the graphic, Spence. Well, Jimmie Johnson didn't quite make it to victory lane Sunday, Spence, but I know you've got something on the guy who did.
Oh, you betcha, Burns. Hide the kids and cover the pets' ears. It's time for a special race-winning edition of Kurt Busch Radio Sweetheart.
Radio check 1, 2. It's a little bit more upsetting now. We didn't get the pole.
For some reason, I knew that was going to be safe.
10-4. Why don't you find out what the 2 car does to make adjustments to make the car better during the race? We are the best car out there for 100 laps every week. Track rubber in, we go to junk. I can't tell you what to do. Broken record. Just love how we never even get the race at the end of these races. It's just like we get flung like a booger. You ready? Green flag. Clear. Oh, clear. New leader, the 22. Woo! That's what I'm talking about! Yeah! Go ahead, chest bump your neighbor. That's right, chest bump your neighbor. I'll take Patricia. Woo!
Look at these guys. Not a single one of them listen to Kurt. They're not chest bumping their neighbors. No one listens to Kurt. Except me, I guess. Hey, but Kurt, Cigar Award. Great pass on Jimmie on that late restart. So, I'll do a chest bump for you. Hey, Gar, where's my Gar? Hey, good job, Kurt. And don't say that I never did anything for you. Damn it, Gary. Whoa.
All right, Spence.
Whoa.
What?
Wait, Steve.
Yeah?
You know I've got to have a few seconds to talk about Max Pappas. Hey, can you believe this guy? Look how many guys dodged this wreck. 1, 2, 3. Just wait for Max. 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, here I come. I'm all over this. Holy crap, Max. You know, Jermaine is apparently laying people off. You know where they could start? The driver. Hey, but Steve, he wasn't the only one who blew it, in my mind. Hey, Brian Scott crashed this weekend. Pick your jaws up off the floor. I said it right. Brian Scott crashed again. Stenhouse is in the way here, so he just drives around him. But oops. Hey, can you imagine what these sandbars must have been thinking? Oh, he's going to hit us, isn't he? There's no way that fool is going to run into us. You've never seen the Brian Scott before, have you? Now I know how that orange cone feels. Oh, wow. Amazing. So Max and Brian, straight jacket award for both of you fools. Congratulations, boys. You're every fabricator's dream.
Spence, you know what you are? You're TV gold, baby.
I love you, Bertie. But it's the truth. Straight jacket award for those two guys.
You ready? Ready? Green flag, green.
Now it's Mr. Excitement time. Jimmie Spencer. We've got to start with the other Jimmie Johnson. Big statement from that team in Kansas.
You know, it was, Steve. It was very impressive. But I got to say, I think the rebounds that the 29 and the 99 teams had were even more impressive. Hey, I thought they were both racing out there in Kansas City, Missouri. You could see the relief on their faces here. And I think one of these two will be your 2011 champion, the way they rebounded into the title form. But Cigar Award to Carl Edwards and Bob Osborne from a lap down to a top 5 finish, their 7th consecutive top 10. Oh, hey, and Steve, one more quick thing. Did you see this Tony Stewart talking to his crew chief Darian and his son? You know what I think Tony was saying? Your daddy is on the hot seat. If we have another week like Dover, your daddy ain't gonna have a job. And you're gonna be eating ramen noodles for the rest of the year. Oh, yes, you will.
That's not right, Spence. Well, that wraps up Cup. We've still got fantasy football to come, but let's talk nationwide and the disagreement between Brian Scott and Aric Almirola.
Yeah, they were arguing after the race. They weren't giving each other enough room on the track or on pit road. And afterwards, Brian Scott had a warning for old Aric Almirola.
I've had enough of it. You know, he's cost me a car, and he continues to race like that. So I went and told him, and I just told him how I felt. I told him that I owed him one, and I told him if he's going to continue to race like that, then I'm probably going to slip up and wreck him.
Holy crap! Aric, you better watch out! He might slip up and crash. Hey, be careful. If he's doing it on purpose, it's going to get ugly. Hey, because look at what happens when he's not even trying to crash. He's doing his best Stephen Wallace impression here, all by himself, into the wall. He's hit everything but the pace car, because he's never up front near it. Bam, crash, slip, thanks, Daddy. Hey, and who can forget his greatest hit? Wait a second. The sand barrels in Dover! But if you ask him, he thinks he's doing just fine. Thank you. So, Aric, beware. If he's able to accomplish all of that without even trying, just imagine what'll happen when he's going to slip up. He could wipe out the whole field.
Finally, Spence, you want to talk about fantasy football?
Oh, yeah, Steve. Listen here. Dale Jr. was asked for his thoughts on the point standings after his rough day in Kansas. Hold on to your hats.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, so I don't really know. I'm more worried about where I'm doing fantasy football right now. But I ain't got to worry about my Redskins because they're off this week. But I just want to win a race. That's a goal of mine right now, is to just go out there and win. Man, if we could do that, that would really, no matter what happened in the chase, I think we'd be real happy with our season.
Well, I have a lot to say about this, but Kyle Petty already did a great job putting Mr. Popular in his place on victory lane. So, Cigar Award to my buddy Kyle. But Kyle, I do have one thing handy here that you didn't have on hand Sunday. It's the crying Dale. Dale Jr. gets it. You know why? He's so worried about his freaking fantasy football points. Hey, isn't it his job to race? You know, what's a fantasy? You winning a race this year, Junior. That's a fantasy.
Jimmie, you're killing me. You're killing me. We'll see you Thursday. No show Thursday. We'll see you next week. You're killing me.
You ready? Ready? Green flag. Green.
But we also love Tuesdays because we get to hub it out with Jimmie Spencer. Have you seen Kurt around?
Hey, I saw him a little bit ago checking out the place. He said he'd swing by, so hey, I'm waiting, Burns.
Okay, be careful. In the meantime, since it is Tuesday, we usually get some combination of the cigar, crying towel, and straitjacket. What awards will you generally dispense this evening?
I think I'm going to hand all of them out.
Oh.
And I want to start off by talking about Jimmie Johnson's crash. Hey, this was a brutal hit. I don't understand why Jimmie thought this was Ryan's fault. But anyways, hey, a Cigar Award to NASCAR for making these cars so safe, and to Jimmie Johnson. Gotta be a tough guy to walk away from a hit like that.
Amen, brother. So that takes care of the cigar. We've still got a towel and a straitjacket coming?
Yes, sir. Let's move on to Joey Logano and Trevor Bayne from the Nationwide race. Joey and Trevor are racing side by side into turn 3. Joey hits the apron, gets loose, and wrecks. And here's what J-Lo had to say after.
16 just went on my door really, really hard, and you know, it's just the way he's been racing lately. I don't know. He's been racing me really hard. I don't know if he's just trying to keep up with Ricky or what the deal is, but I don't really enjoy that much too much. So we'll have to have a little talk about it.
Joey, why is it every time you wreck? It's because somebody's racing you so hard. Hello? Isn't it called racing? Hey, but Trevor, he's really scared about you coming to give him a talk. Oh, and Steve, speaking of crashes, look what David Reagan did again. He dive bombs into turn 1. Hey, he takes out Casey Kane and Jeff Gordon. But for whatever reason, there was some confusion over whose fault it was.
Casey, you don't have a spotter up there? What the hell? I just got squished there. Really. Now, the reason it's my fault is because he said we were 3 wide, and I came down. You know, that's why it's my fault.
Well, those guys couldn't figure it out. I'll lay it out for you. It was David Reagan's fault. Straight Jacket Award. Because, David, you must be crazy if you think a 5-foot car can fit in a 3-foot hole. Congratulations, baby.
All right. That takes care of the Tuesday staples, the cigar, the towel, and the straight jacket. But another popular piece, Kurt Busch Radio Sweetheart. Do we get one of those this week?
Well, yes, you do, Burns. You will, because today we have a very, very special edition of Kurt Busch Radio Sweetheart with a special guest appearance by Kurt Busch. Yeah, baby, what do you think? Hey, Kurt, thanks for coming, buddy.
Come on, you're telling me? I mean, come on. You got to play some nice stuff on me on the radio. I mean, I work with Jimmy Fenning. You work with Jimmy Fenning. I got a championship. How many you got?
Go ahead.
Moving on, people. Man, I'll tell you what. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to turn it into Kurt Busch Sweetheart Radio. Watch this. I got a microphone.
You also got a hammer.
This car smells amazing. What kind of air freshener did you guys put in here? Steve, this car is fantastic today. You're brilliant. My pit crew is so agile and athletic. They're the coolest guys I've ever met. Can someone ask Dale Jr. about where I'm in the fantasy football standings?
Oh, I agree with that one.
How do you like that? I like that. Every time I'm going to press the button, that's what you're going to get from now on. I love it. This is my boy calling me out. I just tell you.
Well,
that's
Kurt.
too much.
Kurt, I didn't want the fans to hear that stuff. But you know what? Thanks for coming. Oh, yeah, see that hammer.
Put it back down.
Hey, good luck at Talladega.
I'll do my best, you know.
All right, thanks, Spence and Kurt.
Turn to Speed after every Cup Series race for expanded post-race coverage you can't find anywhere else. NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco, only on Speed.
Well, it looks like you really did it this time, Spence. Your emails are almost nothing but hate mail from Junior Nation, all in response to your column on Speed.com that suggested Dale Jr. should retire from racing. Any last words before we get into it?
Only that Junior Nation needs to remember that Jimmie never forgets. Mr. E, that is. And I went back to Speed.com and I dug it up. So I'm ready, Steve.
All right, then, here we go. The first one comes in 2 parts. First, Andrea writes, Jimmie, I don't know why you hate Dale Jr. so much.
You know, you see here, Steve, this is just more of Junior Nation seeing what they want to see instead of the facts. If you look at my column, the first 4 words of the 6th paragraph say, and I quote, I like Dale Jr. See? This emailer, like a lot of Junior Nation, is delusional.
Well, Andrea wasn't done. She went on to say, Dale Jr.'s fans are loyal, and we are not going to stop cheering for him just because he's going through a slump. That is not what a true fan does.
You know, they frustrate me so much, Steve, again. If they actually read the article carefully, they would see that I never suggested that anyone in Junior Nation should be disloyal. What I did was defend Junior Nation against their own hero, because he is the one that slapped them in the face when he was asked a question about the point standings, and he gave them this answer.
I'm more worried about where I'm doing fantasy football right now, but I ain't got to worry about my Redskins because they're off this week.
After after all the merchandise that you guys bought, after all the time and effort that you spent defending his record, he's more concerned about his fantasy football team than the point standings. That's a slap in your face, Junior Nation. I was the one sticking up for you, and this is how you repay me? Keep it coming, Steve. I love setting the record straight.
Wow. All right, here's another one, Jimmy. This one from Angie. Dear Mr. Spencer, I think Dale Jr. is having an incredible year, and if he wants to talk about his fantasy football standings, then he should be able to do so.
Incredible, Angie? Really? Incredible? You know, I looked up incredible in the dictionary, and it says that the word means so implausible as to elicit disbelief. Now, Angie, the only thing incredible about a ninth-place driver with no wins all year is that he's more concerned about fantasy football than better results for himself, Hendrick Motorsports, and most of all, Junior Nation. And another thing, on the hub, I'm not Mr. Spencer. I'm Mr. E.
Just one more, Spence. Ginger writes, you believe in somebody, you stick with them. And that's exactly what Junior Nation is going to do, so put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Ginger and Junior Nation, I agree with that. I'm loyal to a lot of things. But the point of my article is that Junior is not being loyal enough to you guys. And Ginger, haven't you been watching me over the years? Pipes are for plumbers. Mr. E smokes cigars.
Wow. You're smoking all right. Thanks a lot. I don't know what you're smoking. Thanks a lot, Jimmy.
Turn to Speed after every Cup Series race for expanded post-race coverage you can't find anywhere else. NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco, only on Speed.
Well, I know my man Spence is going to have some great scanner sound coming up, but first things first, big day for RCR Sunday with their 100th Sprint Cup Series win.
Definitely was, Steve. But it must have been very bittersweet with Boyer winning and Kevin Harvick crashing. But I really liked what old RC said.
These fans pay a lot of money, and I hate it for Kevin, but he did what he was supposed to be doing. We were sitting there racing, all of our RCR cars race, to give these fans a show. We didn't sit in the back and ride and wait till the last minute. Our cars ran all day long. That's what we get paid for. We don't get paid to ride in the back.
You know, I agree with Richard. I loved the guys who actually raced all day Sunday. So, a Cigar Award to all of them. Hey, this is full, trust me. But I understand why some of them choose to hang in the back. Listen to Cousin Carr here late in the race.
Okay, let's take a little vote here. Anybody think they're not going to wreck again before the end of the race? Anybody think they're not going to wreck again? That's what I thought, so we'll just hang out.
Sometimes silence speaks volumes. At least that's what my wife tells me. But anyways, there's not really a good strategy at Talladega anymore. You could run up front and you get crashed like Harvick did, or you could hang in the back like Jimmie did. Hey, he almost got taken out back here too. So, news flash, Steve. This is breaking news. Talladega's a total crapshoot.
That is breaking news. All right, well, the biggest controversy to come out of Dega was the Bang-Gordon saga. We had Trevor on earlier tonight. What do you make of all that, Jimmy?
You know, it's a shame that Trevor wasn't able to repay Jeff for his help in Daytona. But I was curious, you know, what all was said on their individual radios when Trevor abandoned Jeff.
Man, I feel bad about that 24 car. That was stupid. He screwed us. Sorry, boys. You had that one won, man. We had that race won right there.
Yeah, man. I mean, I knew that was coming. Jack's threatening their jobs, dude. That's what they're going to do.
Oh, boy. And here's what Jeff said when he jumped over to the 21 radio.
Way to go, Trevor. You're a champion and quite a gentleman there, bud. I'm sick they made me do that, Jeff. I'm so mad, man.
Yikes! I feel bad for Trevor. Terrible position he got put in. But helping the 17, hey, didn't work out either.
Where did we finish, Jimmy?
18th.
Gotta be me. 21 tried to save me, but then, I don't know, I got hooked to him down the back. Yeah, I hear you. Could have done it if I could have tuned into him, but our freaking radio went dead, so I guess we need two of them next time.
Can you imagine if the 17 loses this championship because their radios weren't working? Hey, he finished 18th instead of 4th, where he easily could have ended up. So instead of leaving the Talladega tied with Edwards, he's 14 behind. Ooh.
Hey, finally, Spence, you told us before the break that the Straight Jacket Award would be handed out. Where is it?
Oh, I got it ready. Here's the deal. On the final lap of the truck race, check out Dillon here in the back. That's your points leader going below the yellow line to advance his position. And if that wasn't obvious enough, come into the checkers off of turn 4. He puts all friggin' 4 wheels, tires, they're below the yellow line and picks up another couple spots. You know, I know some people might think, hey, he was forced down there, to which I say, oh, bullcrap. Let's look back to the Busch shootout. Ryan Newman pushed Denny Hamlin below the yellow line coming to the checkers. And NASCAR said, sorry, Dennis. And they gave that victory to Kurt Busch, a.k.a. Radio Sweetheart. So, Straight Jacket Award to NASCAR. Because they must be friggin' crazy if they don't think what Austin did was against the rules. NASCAR, you're not too big to fit into this. Austin and his pusher, Brendan Gaughan, should have been penalized to the last trucks on the lead lap. And instead of leading the points by 3, Austin should be 12 points out.
Why are you yelling, Spence?
I get frustrated with NASCAR. They make some blunders, Steve.
You said blunders. Spence, a little bird told me you have an axe to grind this week.
You're damn right I do, Steve. You see this here straight jacket? Brian Vickers not only needs to wear it, he also needs to be locked in a padded room and studied for scientific purposes, so that if anyone in the future suffers from Vickernism, they can be cured.
Vickernism? Do I dare ask you to go on?
Well, you have to start at the beginning, Steve. And by the beginning, I mean lap 28 of 500. This is when Brian showed the early signs of the never-before-heard-of condition that I named after him. Here, he overdrives into the corner and nails Regan Smith. Oh, but the symptoms keep getting worse, Steve. They just keep getting worse. Look at him. He drives in too deep again. And this time, he runs into Montoya, which, hey, it's sometimes understandable. But in this case, it's part of a bigger pattern. Now, Steve, it's becoming clear. Once a person is inflicted with Vickernism, he loses all control of his actions. Hey, Steve, watch this. Brian then drives in too deep again. This time he takes out Jamie McMurray. And here's the reason why we need to build awareness, Steve. Because McMurray doesn't know Brian has a problem. He just thinks Brian's a dope. So he retaliates. This is not helping Brian with his problem. But there is one good thing about that. Now we know one of the key signs that you may be suffering from Vickernism is other people think you're a dope. Eventually, more symptoms emerge after wrecking 3 times. Then you race too hard with a guy in a championship fight. This is over the edge, but you just keep beating on him until he gets sick of it. He doesn't know you have Vickernism, so you see even more people thinking you're a dope. And then finally, what's really scary, Steve? It's terrible. It's just so sad. No, it's too important. I have to get through this. Still, the sufferer gets vindictive and ugly and hateful, and he drives into the back of a championship contender and wrecks his car. 5 incidents in just one race, Steve. Isn't it awful? And it still gets worse. Then the inflicted one, Vickers, he starts saying stupid things like this quote in Monday's article on SceneDaily.com. And remember, Brian still doesn't have a ride for next year. What most owners are going to look at is we took a torn-up race car and drove all the way to 7th before I was wrecked by Matt Kenseth, which is more impressive than anything. Is he kidding, Steve? He's saying I had 5 incidents in one race, finished 30th, and for that, you should hire me. You know what? Here's a quote from Jimmie Johnson in the same article. And remember, Johnson had a good-sized lead before Vickers brought out the last caution. Jimmie says, after a 4th or 5th time with the same car in the crash, you start thinking about maybe you're the problem. So you see, Steve, once someone has Vickernism, a lot of people suffer. Matt Kenseth got wrecked. Jimmie Johnson lost the race. Hey, because of the caution Brian brought out. And remember this, Brad Keselowski got wrecked on the final restart, all because of Vickernism. Hey, there's never just one victim, Steve.
We all want to help Mr. E. What else can we do?
I'll tell you exactly what we can do, Burns. We give Brian Vickers this brand new putter award. Because if there's one thing I know, he sure ain't no driver. Let me tell you something. I raced against Matt Kenseth. He's one of the cleanest drivers out there. He's not going to spin someone out unless that guy really has it coming.
You ready? Ready? Green flag, green, green.
But on to Texas. I heard someone from Roush Fenway gets the cigar, but it might be surprising.
You know, I think it is, Steve. It goes to David Reagan. Hey, he didn't crash, which is an improvement. UPS drivers, they can start holding their heads up high. Because he sat on the pole. He outran two of his teammates all night long, the Biff and Edwards. And David and his crew chief there, Drew, Blick, and whatever. They're working great together, and so are Matt Kenseth and Jimmy Finning. Now, we know that Jack Roush changes crew chiefs like I changed my socks, but I hope he keeps all of those guys together there for a while. Listen to what Jack had to say about old Finning.
Jimmy is he's a consummate stock car racer. You know, he can run your R&D team. He can take your rookie driver. Heck, he even won a championship with Kurt Busch. He can do anything, and. That was the biggest job I've ever seen done.
Oh, no, he didn't. Oh, snap. Can you believe that, Burns?
Jack Roush throwing it down.
Yes, he did. Oh, and real quick, Steve, I got 2 more cigars for Paul Menard and Slugger Labby. Because listen to what their teammate, Clint Boyer, said about them after the race.
You know, you got to give credit where credit's due, and the 2017 is the setup that we had in our car. You know, we owe a lot to them. We didn't go down that path first, few weeks. We were out to lunch. We switched over to their stuff, and it's worked out good for us.
Hey, we know that Richard Petty Motorsports has some money issues last year, but they helped Roush Fenway with some front-end geometry, and now Paul and Slugger have come from RPM, and they've helped Childress teammates with some setups too. Very interesting.
Yeah, those guys were definitely fast. And Spence, also Saturday night, we saw a big crash with 2 Martins, Mark and Truex.
It was brutal, Steve. I think NASCAR has really got to look at reducing the speeds of these cars. They're making 800-plus horsepower. That's just too much. They're too freaking fast. Oh! The cars are going too fast. That's also part of the reason why we saw such strung-out races in the intermediate tracks. Guys can't race each other that hard going at these speeds.
All right, now also, Jimmy, you told me earlier today that you wanted to talk about the racing gods?
Yeah, Steve. You saw what happened to Kyle Busch in a nationwide race Friday night, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Going down into turn 1, he's about to take the lead because of Carl. Holy crap! A lap car cuts a tire, knocks him into the wall. Oh, he wasn't not happy about this afterwards. Freak incident, right? That never happens, right? Remember this? 2009, Kyle in the lead, and a lap car has a flat tire, goes across the track, takes him out. Does this look familiar? Kyle's PO'd, walks to his hauler. The racing gods have spoken. Kyle, they want you to cut back on the tons of nationwide races you run. It's abundantly clear.
Jimmy, we're about out of time. Do we not get a crying towel today?
You know, I don't know, Burns. You know what, though? I think I got one here. Check this out.
Yeah, I hate to throw my mom under the bus, but she cooked a little something last night that I don't think was too good. I was a little sick this morning, and then, boy, it got me. My stomach was pretty messed up there about 50 laps in.
What'd you eat last night?
Well, my mom made a little dish.
That's your mother! These drivers will just throw anyone under the bus to make excuses for why they did win the race. Oh, Carl, your own mother! How could you? You couldn't win because you had a tummy ache from what your mommy cooked you. You big baby! But Steve, you know what? When you drive your car with abs like Carl does, it's really hard to steer with a bellyache, you know. Blame Subway, Carl. Anybody, not your mother.
She's a nice lady.
Bobby, I'm sorry.
Thanks, Jimmy.
You ready? Ready? Green flag, green.
Jimmy Spencer's here. Spence, you got a huge response to the crying towel you gave Danica on Tuesday. DW even tweeted about it. And one email we got said that Mr. E should stand now for Mr. Entertainment.
You know, thank you, Steve. That's nice. But I'm going to stick with Mr. Excitement. Mike Joy gave me that nickname 50 years ago, and I love it.
That's a keeper. Last week, we asked for the fans to head to Facebook and Twitter to share their stories about meeting the drivers. And finally, you've tallied the results?
You know, I have, Steve. And I'm going to reveal the top 10 drivers who got the most compliments from the fans. Not me, the fans. And the top 10 who got the most gripes. First up, the nicest driver according to the Race Hub viewers. Drum roll, please. It's Cousin Carl. Look at him. He's signing autographs like they're going out of style. Fan after fan after fan. Rest your hand, Carl. Holy cow. Hey, let's look at the top 10. Nearly 1 out of 10 fans wrote in and mentioned how Carl made their socks roll up and down. Big Daddy came in second. Gordon's future teammate, Casey Kane, was third. Hey, the ladies really loved him. Matt the Brat Kenseth, not a brat to the fans. And then the other 3 Hendricks drivers in a tie for 5th. Junior Nation, though, didn't stuff the ballot box. All right.
Fair list. I like it. Okay. Those were the top 10 nicest, but who made the naughty list?
You know, Steve, the top of the not-so-nice list. Can I get another drum roll, please? Smoke! Oh, come on, it's Tony Stewart. Tony, please, Tony, won't you stop? Come on, sign some autographs. Please, Tony, come back here. Tony! Okay, now to be fair to Smoke, he just barely missed the top 10 nicest list. Lots of fans had stories about Smoke being a good guy, but as he easily topped the naughty list. And Rowdy in second there, imagine that. 5-time Jimmie with an IE making both the nice and the naughty list. Same for Junior, Kenseth, and Mark Martin. Now, I do want to mention 3/4 of the stories we got were good stories from the fans, but it should be 4/4. And hey, Burns, we did have some fun stories from the fans. I got a couple quick ones here.
All right.
Okay. Jake W. My best story is with Marcus Ambrose at Texas. He gave me an autographed koala bear. Oh, wow. And free tickets to the stationwide race. Oh, well, you know, that was nice. Now, also from Jake W., my worst story is also at Texas. I was meeting Kurt Busch, and I asked, why is your brother such a bitch to people? And he was like, I don't know, and he told me to leave. Hey, a little tip here, Jake. When you want an autograph from someone, probably not a good idea to call their family member a name like that.
Great advice. Thanks, Jimmy. A lot of people in Bristol told me they loved what you're doing, so I just wanted to pass that along. A lot of Spencer fans out there.
All right, man.
The Hub Week ends after the break.
Turn to Speed after every Cup Series race for expanded post-race coverage you can't find anywhere else. NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco, only on Speed.
We had great weather a few weeks ago for chase race number 5 at Charlotte. So Jimmy Spencer and Danielle took advantage and hit the trails around CMS with unsuspecting race fans who got a chance to play trivia and hopefully stay safe. It's our first installment of Crash Cab.
Hey, Burnsy, excited to hand out some prizes with Jimmy Spencer today if they can get the questions right.
Also, possibly a Cigar Award, possibly a crying towel. Quite possibly, we could run into a lot of Dale Jr. fans.
I just hope that you don't run into anybody out here. Dangerous with Jimmy Spencer in the Crash Cab.
Danielle, put your belt on. Let's go.
You guys want us to play some trivia? Get in. Get in the back.
Welcome to Crash Cab.
Now, let's see how they do.
Okay, here we go now.
Whose nickname is Happy?
Harvick. All right, you got that one right. There you go.
You guys want to play some trivia?
Sure.
Come on in. Hi, can we have a ride? Come on into the Crash Cab.
Right.
Sure.
You want to go for a ride in our Crash Cab?
Sure. right. His nickname is Mr. Excitement. Which driver's nickname is Mr. Excitement?
Darrell Waltrip.
I know exactly who you are.
Who am I?
You are Kenny Schrader.
Kenny Schrader?
Yes, sir.
You fool, get your ass out of my cab. You think this handsome son of a bitch here is Kenny Schrader?
Yeah.
Sir.
Well, the last time I was this close to you, I was helping you out of a car when your steering wheel come off at Shangri-La. Remember that?
Holy cow.
Remember that?
Jimmie Spencer.
Oh, you're lucky because your ass is living out of this cab. Jimmie Spencer, my friend.
Oh, Jimmie Spencer. Oh, I am an idiot.
No, you're just a redneck.
Oh, the first redneck!
At which track did David Pearson get his last win?
Oh, boy. You know, they call it the Lady in Black.
Right.
Oh, Darlington.
Oh, he got it right!
He is NASCAR's only 4-time Cup champion.
Jimmie Johnson.
Oh, you were wrong! Come on! Come on, you
Jimmie's
redneck!
5.
Whose shirt you got on?
Oh, Gordon.
Hello, why didn't you know that, Jimmie?
Gordon was only 3.
See what you get for thinking?
We don't have that on tape or anything. We could edit that out.
Okay.
Oh, my God. See, that's where they call me Mr. Excitement.
Which NASCAR driver is from Tasmania?
Oh,
Good day, mate.
Huh?
Put a shrimp on the bobby.
Oh, Ambrose.
There you go.
Sorry.
That's better. That one's
Tasmania. I don't know where Tasmania is.
What does the acronym NASCAR stand for?
Time out. What the hell's acronym?
What the letters stand for? National Association of Stock Car Auto Racing. Is that right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, he told me to get tough.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
NASCAR's first Rookie of the Year.
Oh, that is tough.
That's tough.
That's got to be somebody like Fonnie Flock's sister or something silly. I don't even know.
Fonnie, where in the hell did you come up with Fonnie Flock's sister?
Yeah, I'm just telling you.
All right. Get out of the cab, open the door, and get your asses out of here. You don't deserve nothing. Santa! Come on, Santa, get your ass in here. We want to ride with you. Look at that Santa Claus!
Jimmie, how you doing?
Santa.
Which driver will have coal in his stocking on Christmas morning?
I'll tell you what, Kyle Busch is on my...
Oh, no!
Just a little bit, you know?
How about Kurt?
Well, I marked him off the list.
Does Santa Claus have a favorite driver?
Of course, Dale Jr.
Wow!
If it's got anything to do with the 88, she knows the answer.
You think he's gonna win a race before the end of the year? That's a trivia question. I hope so.
Of course he is. Think positive, right? Yeah.
Oh, it looks like a party in here. How are you? Okay. You gave Santa Claus a ride, huh? We did.
He upset me.
Oh, did he?
He pulls for a driver that's not going to ever win a race again.
Oh, who's that, Junior?
You got it right. You know what, Dan? To start off quick, here you go. Cigar for you, darling.
Everything I love starts with a D. Dale Jr., Democratic Party, and the Dallas Cowboys.
And Danielle.
Oh,
Danielle.
Hi,
my friend Danielle.
All right, come on. Get the hell out of my
Thank you very
cab.
much.
Get yourself back. Take this damn
Thanks,
speed
Daniel.
boat
Appreciate
and
it.
Get away from me. No, stay away from me. Get out of this cab. Get going. God almighty. Junior fins. I don't know I can handle a damn junior fins, Danielle Trana.
You ready? Ready? Green flag, green, green.
The Straight Jacket Award. A cigar award. The crying towel. Cigar time.
You gave the crying towel.
Roger, I feel bad for you. I need the crying towel.
Crying towel. Crying pie.
You son of a bee!
Spencer, what is all this? You have a crying towel and you have a cigar. You need all this stuff to make a show work.
I love to see you eat your words and, more importantly, eat cigars.
When are you gonna man up and light this thing?
I don't know what the deal is with that, if you have some kind of insecurities or what, but you always gotta have this thing in your mouth.
What do you think happened to this head?
And the crying towel, I mean,
you know.
You're a big guy. You need a bigger towel than that.
I mean, are you that big of a baby?
Oh, don't ask Tony Stewart.
Put your helmet back on, get back on the racetrack, then you can tell us about who's crying and who's not.
I'll bet you Austin wishes his truck had this much grip every week.
How's that for a slide, old man? So I'm not even gonna worry about this crying towel or whatever it is in the cigar. I'm gonna go straight to the hair, bud. I'm sorry.
Did you take this profession because you couldn't find a job still, or because it paid well?
Oh, Kevin.
Just asking, buddy. Hopefully, you won't use these too many times on me.
Peace, Jimmy.
One of these days, you'll grow up.
Ouch! That's Tony Stewart and a bunch of other drivers sharing their opinions on Mr. Opinionated. You've been waiting for it. Jimmy Spencer back in the hub and all dressed up. Very handsome, sir.
Thank you, Danielle. But real quick, for Kevin, the answer is yes. Hey, and Tony, I can't get a helmet to fit on his head anymore.
Well, then I'm not even going to try to ask you about your fire suit. We saw some of the strangest moments in Daytona 500 history this weekend. What'd you make of it all, Jimmy?
You know, it was clear during speed weeks that the Fords were going to be very fast in the the Daytona 500. Cigar Award to that whole group. This one's for Matt. I think good karma helped him to this win. Remember last summer?
I'm just going to lock straight onto that thing. I shouldn't have to offset at all. I'm just going to push you all the way home if I can.
That was last July. Matt committed to his teammate David Reagan and pushed him to the win and got the same in return from his teammate this year. Great teamwork by them Roush guys. I know the Cat in Hat has to be very proud.
I'm sure he is. It was also his 300th NASCAR victory, Jimmy. And Kansas win is certainly a big story, but the story of the night was the strange turn of events with Juan Pablo Montoya hitting the jet dryer. Spence, I know that you hit your fair share of objects over your career, but could you believe this one?
Danielle, when I first saw the aftermath of this incident, I was sure I must have dozed off and I was having some weird dream. But then I saw Juan Pablo involved and I thought, nope, this seems about right. I mean, I've been really hard on JPM over the past few years because of how many times his car ends up in the wall. And you know what? Sounds like we're on the same page now.
I mean, I've hit a lot of things, but a jet dryer? I mean, no.
Hey, I'm just glad everybody's okay. But one thing struck me about this here incident. Juan's car looked like something broke in the rear end. And then, just a little bit later, his teammate, Jamie McMurray's car, looks like something breaks in his rear end too. You know what? He ends up in a big crash. Well, both of the Ganassi cars have something go wrong in the rear end. That sounded familiar to me. 2010 at Dover, the track bar broke on the 42 car. Then guess what? Same thing breaks on the 1 car. These guys need to stop experimenting. This was a year and a half ago. Both cars ran like dog meat last year, and now they're starting 2012 the same way. So I got an award for them Ganassi guys. It's the straight jacket. Because you all must be crazy if you think whatever you're doing to these rear ends of these cars is doing anybody any good.
Woo, you know how to make an entrance. Finally, Spence, Danica Mania took over for Daytona Speed Weeks, but it sure ended in disappointment for her.
Well, Danielle, not just for Danica, but a lot of her fans, too. But in my opinion, it was her own fault. Take a look here. Watch all of the cars around her as she tries to avoid this crash. They all keep moving straight and slowing down, but she turned left right into David Reagan. I mean, hey, I don't know what she was thinking. She must have pulled another one of these here and, just took her hands off the wheel. Watch it again from her onboard camera. She panics after she runs into the back of Rudiman here, and then she just veers left into David Reagan. So, Danielle, I got to do it. 3 races, 3 crashes, wrecking out of the Daytona 500 on the second lap. Oh, I'm sorry, Danica. First crying towel of 2012. Keep your hands on the wheel. Don't let go.
Jimmy, fans never want to let you go. You came out swinging, and you keep on ticking. We've missed you.
You ready? Ready? Green flag. Green.
Crying towel, Jimmy? Really? I mean, quit chewing these, put your helmet back on, get back on the racetrack, then you can tell us about who's crying and who's not.
Yeah, Smoke was all revved up at Media Day a few weeks ago. Not so much on Sunday, though. Can you believe how he abused one of my cigars, Danielle?
I know, desecrating one of Mr. E's cigars, that warrants a straitjacket or something. But no worries, Jimmy. It seems like karma may have gotten Smoke on Sunday, and you must have been excited for his former crew chief, Darian Grubb, to get a win so quickly with old Denny.
You know, actually, I was really pulling for that AARP guy, not Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin. Hey, but I am a big fan of Darian's, and I'm happy for Dennis getting his groove back. But poor Smoke. He can't buy a break these first 2 races. Maybe bad karma, like you said, Danielle, for firing Darian. And of course, my friends in the media center asked Darian about Tony's problems. Hey, here's Bob Pockris.
It was apparently a circuit breaker on Tony's car that flipped. I mean, will you guys try to look at those things, or is it something that you just kind of have to wait till it happens to you to try to figure out if there's some sort of glitch or anything in the system?
Just say thanks for the tidbit. We'll look at that when we get back.
Oh, I loved how he could barely contain his smirk as they told him about Tony's problems. Good stuff.
It was also good to have Darian on the hub earlier, Spence. Now, we've heard earlier that you've got something on NASCAR's Mr. Popular.
Oh, yeah, Danielle. Take a listen to Junior telling his crew chief about how the car was running.
It won't turn in the middle, and it's wrecking everywhere else at the start. It's just wrecking. I don't know if we changed anything. If we did, just change that back. If we didn't change anything, then I feel bad for you.
Well, they hadn't changed anything, so I feel bad for Stevie, too. But they ended up with a solid 14th, so maybe we'll be seeing Junior in the chase again. Hey, anything's possible.
Junior Nation has their fingers crossed, Spence. We're almost out of time, so cut to the chase. Who is the new radio sweetheart?
I'll get to that in a second. But there was one thing that struck me in the interview that Kyle Petty did with Kurt Busch earlier. Listen here.
So we're going to have our weekends where we're on even level, even playing ground with the rest of the teams. Then there's going to be races where we're going to struggle, and that's going to be the fun part of it.
Well, if struggling is supposed to be fun, he must have been having a ball when we heard him cussing his team out last year. But what about that honeymoon period with James Finch? Did it make it? 2 whole races?
I'm putting the fun back into racing. I haven't gone forward on a long green run since, well, hell, ask Patricia. Copy that. You guys having fun in there? What are we running right now, 17?
Oh, Kurt, I love you. And I have to give you credit. You really were in a good mood, you know, the rest of the race. On the other hand, we do have a brand new radio sweetheart for this week. Are you ready? Drum roll, please. It's Clint Boyer, radio sweetheart. Roll it.
Inside. Cut her down again. God, guys. What the man, get over so something work on it. I'm just trying to take it easy, trying to figure out if this gonna blow out, man. I can outrun a lot of stuff I can't beat ourselves. Can't outrun that. 2 weeks in a row.
Oh my gosh. I think Clint might have had too much 5-hour energy. Poor Brian Batty, too. He thought he was in good shape when he didn't have to listen to one bitch anymore. 2 weeks in a row, Danielle. 2 weeks in a row. Oh, I dread Sin City.
It's been a rough start, Spence. You made that radio sweetheart well worth the wait.
You ready? Ready? Green flag, green.
I'm coming, Gar.
Well, it's finally happened. After years of Steve Burns and me campaigning for it, Jimmy Spencer joins us inside the Hub studio. All right, Spence, I know you're around here somewhere. Where are you? What?
Hi, Danielle.
Oh, Jimmy Spencer at the desk, no less. I see they didn't let you bring your chalkboard and jacket, though. Professional around here.
I got my cigar, and most importantly, my crying towel. I'm going to use it.
All you need are the necessities and a button down. You look handsome, sir. I know you want to start out tonight talking about Mark Martin and Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yeah, let's take a look at it here. I mean, poor Mark Martin. You know, it's bad when you're slow enough that Junior can hit you. Mr. Bigglesworth here, he didn't leave Junior a lane there, and Junior pounds him. This reminded me of Michigan last year. Same situation. Junior's coming on the high side. That's my Larry Mack. And Mark just runs into him into the fence. I think this was part of the reason Dale Jr. didn't give him a break on Sunday.
Ah, a little payback there. I think you're probably right, Spence. And here's what Junior had to say about this little incident.
I don't have a problem with Mark. I got so much respect for him, but I don't know, to me personally, there's a unwritten etiquette that when a guy's running the top, even if you're clearing him, passing him, you know, if you barely clear him off the corner, I'm coming 10 mile an hour faster off the top of the racetrack. You stay low. You know, don't knock a half second on my lap time being a jerk about it.
Ooh, Dale Jr. called him a jerk, Spence. I would never call you that. I'll let Bernsey handle that.
Well, the thing is, though, is Junior was having a really good day. And I think the frustration was getting towards the end of the race. And Mark could have gave him a break. He did, and then Junior wasn't happy.
Former teammates, though. How about some current teammates that are on Jimmie's mind? Carl and Matt got into it in Vegas, too.
Daniel, I'm glad you bring this up. Think back to Kansas, the nationwide race. Hey, Matt gets in the car here going into turn one. As a result, Carl ends up pounding that fence hard a few laps later. And he was very appreciative giving old Matt a nice ovation here. And how about Martinsville? Just a few weeks after that, Carl upset with Matt again after contact they made on the track. And it almost got physical. Not cool, Carl. Come on. And then just last fall, both racing for the championship. And Edwards accidentally gets into Kenseth, and around went Matt the Brat. On Sunday, Matt got the fuzzy end of that lollipop. Hey, Jack, you better watch these boys. I still think that they're not too fond of each other.
Carl just came back with the fist, Spence.
Not good.
Not good. Speaking of not good, Spence, you promised us the return of the radio sweetheart. Why are you holding out on us?
You know, Danielle, it's time for the first 2012 edition.
Finally.
Of Kurt Busch Radio Sweetheart. Roll it, guys.
Don't pit, don't pit, don't pit, don't pit. Jesus H. Christ. I'm on pit road past the commitment cone. Air gun, air gun, air gun, air gun, air gun. Anthony, air gun, air gun. God. It's going to happen. It happens to me. I got to work on a seat insert. Got a bony butt. Little blondie there says I'm not allowed to change my butt, so I got to change the seat. Bouncing like a on the splitter. It's a black cloud above my head. That thing.
Caution's out for debris. They almost missed it.
They don't miss the black cloud above my head. That's what gives it away. You would not believe it. I ran over a piece of debris, blew the left rear out, and now we have a wrecked race car. I called it. I called it. I called it.
Oh, the dreaded black cloud. Oh, my God. It's hurting his bony butt. He called it. Danielle, he called it. He called it.
What happened to Kurt wanting to put the fun back in racing, Jimmie? Hopefully sunny skies, they are ahead. Thanks, Spence. We'll see you on Thursday. He's much louder when he's right next to you.
You ready? Ready? Green flag, green, green.
Yo, Smooth, I was checking you out doing the Dougie.
I wasn't proud of it.
You've got skills. All right, let's get right to it, Jimmie. Lap 24. Oh, boy, big one already. Casey Kane, Regan Smith, Carl Edwards, Kyle Busch. Good race cars torn up.
You know, let's look here. Lap 2. You know, they're all racing hard. Carl, Almirola, and Brad. Let's move here, lap 6. You see Casey lurking there in the back. He's behind all these guys. Now, lap 23, Casey's already passed them all. Where's he at? Oh, he's in front of me. I got to take care of this. So Regan dumps him. 476 laps to go. But look how Jeff Gordon does it here with Allmendinger. 85 career wins. There's a reason. He knows a thing or two about winning races. I tell you what, I got an award for Regan Smith. It's called the Straight Jacket Award. Because Regan, if you want to get the respect the guy that Jeff Gordon's got, 476 laps to go in a race, you need this next time, baby. Straight Jacket Award, Burns.
Wow, harsh. Regan, Now, listen, there were a lot of people sounding off about the racing at Bristol Motor Speedway. Just a handful of caution periods, not the usual racing we see at Bristol. Dale Earnhardt Jr. talked about it during and after the race.
Racing's racing. You line them up, you let them go, and I'm glad NASCAR didn't step in and throw a bunch of BS debris cautions all day long to try to, make a show out of it. So everybody just kind of gonna have to live with it. Let somebody wants to spend the money to dig this thing up and redo it. It ain't the track surface and the way the track's configured. These tires are, got different configurations on the left and right side and the different compounds and this and that and other, and that changes how you race. It changes the way the cars go around the track. Look at that first race we run here and do your story. That was an exciting race, and same track.
Dale Jr. brings up some very interesting points. But, Junior, if I were you, I'd stay far away from mentioning NASCAR and the BS debris cautions in the same sentence. Be careful. They'll light your wallet in a hurry. Ask Dennis, Ryan, and Brad Kay. On the other topic, the incident with the 24 car, though, Steve, it wasn't what Dale Jr. said, but it was very interesting in what he did. Watch this.
I just have to sit down and talk to him and see where he's at. And I got to own up to my responsibility in the situation, which I will, and go from there.
Did you see that?
Spence, you're not right.
Check it out again.
Come on, Spence.
He goes digging there. He doesn't get it. Oops. There, he got it. He got it. But what am I going to do with it? Hey, there's no cameras around. Hey, he just tosses it over his shoulder. Wow. That toss was incredible. But I have to say, Burns, in his defense, this was about 100 laps to go in the race. And that thing was bugging him there, too. Junior. Hey, here you go. I got something for you.
Oh, don't do it.
Look at this. That's how it works.
A crying towel?
See that?
So are you giving him the crying towel?
Well, it's really not a crying towel, also a blowtorch, too.
It's a blowtorch. Okay, I got it. All right, how about Tony Stewart, Brendan Gaughan? What about that incident?
I want to see your reaction on that deal.
No, go, Tony.
I love it.
Oh, Spence, you got me. Tony Stewart, Brendan Gaughan, baby.
I know. This is a mystery to me, so we dug up the scanner chatter. Take a listen.
Who the run into me? 33 car. I didn't even do anything to him.
Oh, no, he just lost it when he went in there. That's exactly what happened. Letting you go.
I thought he was too until he took us out. I locked the front brakes. Tell Tony I'm sorry.
You know, Steve, I know that Brendan's got an excuse there, but it's simple. Tony just got goned. Goned. You know what I'm saying?
Goned.
Goned.
Okay. No Cigar Award.
If I was to do it quick, it would be the 15 car and Michael Waltrip racing. I'll tell you what, Clint did a great job on Sunday.
All right, I like that. All right, good job, Spence. We'll see you Thursday. Hub's still rolling. You got to do this part, Spence, when you do the Dougie.
When they do the Dougie?
You got to do.
I'll learn it.
Keep it fresh.
You ready? Ready? Green flag, green.
My man Spence is here. You know, in a way, I feel really badly for David Rudiman. He's in the middle of a storm right now. And, gosh, I mean, Brad Keselowski after the race said, by David missing pit road, that was dirty driving.
You know, Steve, I don't agree with that. But at first, I don't know why everybody was so upset with David Rudiman. I saw the 10 car stopped on the track. I thought it was Danica.
Well, she's not even there.
Well, instead of her, she takes her hands off the wheel, I thought she just took her foot off the gas. Anyway, hey, but seriously, Steve, the 10 team is fighting to stay in its top 35 in owners' points to lock themselves into future races. And here's a condensed version of how it went down on their radio.
Tire rod's broke. The soft steering's broke. We need 5 more laps. 5 more laps, and it's 8 to go. Keep digging. Come on. Okay, you get the black flag. Next time, be black and white.
Quit running. Just shut off.
Yeah, it just shut off. It been running bad for about 10 or 12 laps, breaking up, spitting and popping. Then it just shut off like somebody flipped the switch. We had 3 laps short from staying in the top 35, beat the 36.
A lot of people were very confused about why Rudiman was even on the track when he was so many laps down. But he was trying to make more laps than the 36 car, which had pulled off the track. If he could have passed the 36 car, he'd get 1 more point. And look how important that 1 point was. The 10 car is now just 1 point out of the top 35. So when they go to Texas, they're going to go as a go or go homer. David Rudiman did exactly what he was supposed to do, what he's paid to do. No driver out there wants to affect the outcome of a race. Except maybe, Paul Menard. Richmond, remember? Also, people have been upset about Tommy Baldwin Jr.'s team starting parking for years. Now they're trying to run as much as possible, and they're getting crucified for that too.
Well, I tell you what, Spence, it's incredible the bad luck the 24 team has had this season.
Wow, I'll tell you what, Steve, it's incredible. Check this out, Daytona.
Blown
catastrophic engine failure. Next race we go to is Bristol.
Incidental contact with his teammate, Dale Earnhardt Jr. He was running in the top 5 at that point.
And a possible candidate to win. How about Fontana? Yeah. Here you go, the gas man. I mean, come on. Sticks, that's rare, Steve. A very unfortunate time.
I heard him on the radio after the race. Let's listen to how frustrated he was after the race.
This is just unbelievable the way this season has gone. Just a sit duck back here, man.
I know he's frustrated, Steve. I don't blame him. But they've had fast cars. They just need to keep digging. Their luck will turn around. I'm not worried about them. They will be championship contenders come Martinsville fall.
I happen to believe they'll win a few races, too. Now, so you said we'd get to the Gordon Boyer incident. Let's take a look, Spence. Who do you think was at fault here in the closing laps?
Well, I'll tell you what. You look at this restart, Gordon and Jimmie on old tires, they definitely don't get the restart. Newman does bump the 15, but I could put a tractor-trailer in between the 15 and the 39. 39 did not bump Boyer into the 24. 15 did this himself. Clint made a major mistake there, and I got an award for him. I'll tell you what it is.
An award for Clint.
You're dang right. Straight jacket. You know why? Because Clint, you must be crazy if you think you can make a 3 wide going into turn 1 on a restart. You're crazy, dude.
Well, let's listen to what Clint said after the race.
It's just too bad. We was all going for it. I had to do that, and everybody had to do what they had to do.
Clint, you had to do what? Oh my God, Clint, double award. Here you go, you dummy. You didn't have to do that. You had 7 more turns.
There, little Jimmie. We're all done. We're all done. Hey, take it easy.
No. One more award. Wait a minute, Steve. Wait a minute before I go. I got one more award. Bar of soap. Check it out.
Soap.
Are you ready? Go, man, go. Stop. Back up. Go. Shot. God. At your mark now. Caution. Car stopped on the bottom. God, hey, son of a. This could really get up quick here.
Frustrating is setting in with that 40-18. 12 race winless streak, 12 and counting. But settle down, Chad. Come on.
Oh, look at what you've done here, Spence. All right. No, there, little Jimmie. No show on Thursday. Enjoy your holiday Easter
Happy
weekend,
Easter for
Spence.
everybody.
You ready? Green flag. Green.
Jimmy Spencer, I don't even watch his show. Does he have a straight jacket?
He does.
Does he take it off and loan it to people? Does he ever light the cigar? That man owns a straight jacket, sucks on a dog turd, and has his own TV show. How does that happen?
It did happen. That was Clint Boyer earlier today on the Hub. And for Spence, the hits just keep on coming. Jimmie's office is getting packed up to make room for the new Hub All Access studio.
When they were pulling all of that stuff out of there, I think they ripped my heart out, Danielle. I'm going to miss that place.
I understand. A lot of memories in there, Jimmie. But before your buddy Clint left the building, well, he checked out your old stomping ground.
People don't use chalkboards anymore, buddy. Got smartphones for that these days. I guess this is the straight jacket. Starting to give it away to other people, won't fit you anymore. Guess it's actually pretty cool. What? I didn't know there was like the jumbo turd. Is this for when he's really an ass? What is that? Here's the bumper off Jimmy Spencer's last race car. Thanks for giving me 2 weeks worth of hell. Let's get back after it, buddy.
Danielle, I was afraid when he went in there he was going to try to steal some souvenirs from my office. I'm famous. But All I was missing was a stapler and one of my expensive turds.
Ew. I don't even like using that word, Jimmie. Let's just move on. Today, you're here to count down the most exciting moments of 2012 so far this season. Roll out your top 5 for me. What you got?
Number 5, Kasey Kahne's big crash at Bristol. Very exciting. In a bad way, though. Even led to him replacing his own cousin as the spotter. But, Kasey, there's a silver lining in all of this. If we compare your stats in your first 6 races with Hendricks with Mark Martin's numbers in his first 6 races, they're pretty darn similar. And remember, Mark Martin went on to finish second at the end of the season, almost won the title. So keep your elbows up, Kasey. You're not eliminated from anything yet.
So you're saying there's a chance. On to number 4. What you got?
This is for everybody that's trying to crucify my man David Rudiman. I couldn't stand all the excitement there. After everyone bashed on him for actually trying to finish the race at Martinsville, perish the thought. And number 3, Danielle, from MWR's previous franchise to my current franchise, it's a brand new installment. At number 3, Kurt Busch, Radio Sweetheart.
Blue right front tire. Right side's only here, guys. Really? You didn't have time to put lefts on it? We're already 6 laps down. All right, everybody, kick your feet up, grab a drink with an umbrella in it. Wow, it's going to be a new record for me, being done like this, 66 laps in. Perfect. I love this place. 190, 220. Driver's 500. Really? Now the cool box just quit? Nice. The crew chief's still there, or did he leave? He's still hanging out, bud. I'm hearing all this. We'll fix it when we get a chance here. Caution's out, caution's out. It's all for TV, people. We're all here for the show. I mentioned how much I hate this hole.
I love it. The sports psychologist is doing a bang-up job there. Good stuff.
He's really putting the fun back into racing this year, and you got 2 left.
Number 2 is for Juan Pablo and that jet dryer. You know that saying, that guy hit everything but the pace car? Juan's going to change it to everything but the jet dryer. And number 1, to my buddy Clint Boyer, the most exciting moment of the season so far for this freaking brilliant restart move that earned him the double award that he was so upset about. The straitjacket he definitely needed, and he also got that crying towel. Boo-hoo.
Well, all things considered, I think he kept it pretty classy.
Thanks, Danielle. I'm excited about the rest of this season.
You ready? Ready? Green flag, green.
Drivers. Big win for the Biff Saturday night, Jimmie.
Yeah, it's been a while. His last one was about when I stopped driving.
Ooh, that's harsh. The feud still simmering between the two of you. I can't believe Greg came in and snatched your cigar. That's a good smoker.
Hey, I'll get back at him one of these days, Burns. But anyways, we saw a very interesting race Saturday night. Here's my take on it. And as you just heard a few minutes ago, a lot of drivers were very upset over the radio.
What is he? Wake the up. Unbelievable. That mother. Get him the out of the way. So you're the fastest car on the track. Damn, Ty. Throw the off the roof.
I don't have enough bars of soap to clean up that mess. And the dirtiest mouth of them all just might have been Kevin Harvick's.
That was pretty pathetic for an actually paid pit crew. If we're going to keep stepping on our I need to adjust it for traffic. We just don't need to make it harder than it needs to be. Just change the lug nuts. We've been keeping our mouths shut. Now it's time to not keep our mouths shut.
The most interesting thing about the whole conversation to me is that someone has told old Happy that he needs to keep his mouth shut over the radio. Obviously, somebody has been watching our show and doesn't want Kevin to be the next radio sweetheart. But also, Kevin has a history of giving his pit crews the who, what for.
Bunch of idiots on pit road is what you look like. I'd start firing people if it was me. If we lose this race because of a pit stop, I'm going to have a freaking heart attack. Stop coaches, new shoes, higher salaries, slower pit stops. Doesn't add up.
But anyways, back to Saturday night. RCR has been looking less and less impressive each week. And I think the reason isn't who's on the team, but who's not there anymore. Like Scott Miller, former competition director. Ever since he's jumped ship for Michael Waltrip Racing, MWR has been sailing to the front, while RCR has barely stayed above water with their floaties. Speaking of MWR, I'm shocked at how well Martin Truex Jr. has been running with the unheard of crew chief Chad Johnson. Same with points leader Greg Biffle and Matt Pusha. Who? Oh, as a matter of fact, 5 of the top 7 in the points are working with relatively new crew chiefs. Wow, some veteran pairings need directions back to victory lane. And of course, I'm not going to go a week without talking about Junior. Did you see him working on perfecting his "the high line is my line and no one else's" move? Same thing he did to Mark Martin in Las Vegas. Smoke him if you got him, I say. So, Cigar Award for Junior. It sure is fun to watch a driver with a pair of cajuns. And a huge cigar for The Rock. Great race Sunday. If someone could just figure it out, a big helicopter, a spaceship, whatever, big enough to lift that track up and put it down right in the middle of Fontana. In my opinion, we'd have much more entertaining racing in Southern California.
You said cajuns.
Hey, Earnhardt's impressive this year, buddy. He is standing on it.
Thanks, Fez.
You ready? Ready? Green flag, green.
That face just makes you smile. It's Jimmie Spencer. Welcome to the Hub, my friend. Here to talk Kansas. An exciting race. Martin Truex dominated the race at Kansas. Actually, here's a saying that you could relate to. He was close, but no cigar.
Hey, this 56 team is close. What a great run they had at Kansas. But now we go to Richmond, and old Martin Truex did not have a good time last year. So, in the offseason, MWR added Scott Miller, and the entire team has responded, especially Truex, who's in the top 5 in points. Cars are better, organization's better, and they are contending for wins as we saw Sunday in Kansas. It won't be long before MWR hits victory lane.
I agree, and what a difference a year makes. Does Truex get an award for getting oh so close to victory lane?
Danielle, second place is close. No cigar. Jimmie Keepy.
Well, Clint Boyer wasn't keepy close to the vestie last week. He kind of went off on you a little bit, and then he had a bad race at his home track.
You know, he did have a tough day at his home track. Take a listen here.
How many laps are we down? 14. Man, anywhere but here. Holy this sucks. Good God, Truex is fast. Holy
Keep in mind, though, drivers love to perform well at home. You know, Boyer's still 11th in the points with a good start to the year, but he's only got one top 5 finish. A lot more to come, though.
I agree. Clint Boyer got what he deserved after taking a shot at my man Jimmie Spencer. Are you leaving out any juicy radio tidbits from Kansas?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Juan Pablo Montoya. And he had plenty to say to his team on Sunday. Danielle, cover your ears. Listen.
I'm going to go backwards in a heartbeat. Thank you. All right, buddy, let's stay with it here. Okay? No, I mean, I'm just annoyed. I know you are, man. It's okay. We got time to fix it. Doing good. I'm tired of trying to fix it. You know what I mean? We stop on the green. Again, we were on 2 tires. We got to do more than 2 tenths of pressure. Stop trying to be so chill. You know what I mean? We can't chill.
You know something, Juan. I'm annoyed for you. Matt Pusha, Greg Biffle's crew chief, Brian Patty Boyer's crew chief, both worked at Ganassi. And they're both in the chase form. Ganassi has made more changes in the last 2 years than any other team combined. Sure seems like those changes ain't working. Hey, Chip, I don't know who you're listening to, but I got some oceanfront property in Arizona. You want to buy it real cheap?
Juan was patient to start the year. I think he's running out of patience.
I don't blame him, Danielle. He's a lot better driver than what he's showing.
Well, Jimmie, you're always good. And you always show up with good stuff.
The NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race, May 19th, 7 p.m. Eastern, on Speed.
My main man, Jimmie Spencer, is here, and I'm sure you have some commentary on the Busch brothers and the confusion at Richmond.
I do, but Friday night, Kyle's emotion was pretty special. But Saturday night, the night Kurt had, I thought we would have some radio sweetheart material. But there's always next week. Meanwhile, here's my take on Richmond, starting off with, you guessed it.
Tony Stewart doesn't go.
Post for 99. Jump at the restart.
Black flag, Carl Edwards.
They're covering their damn because they told Jason that we were the leader is what's going on. It's not cool to get a race taken from you like that.
All right now. The bottom line is Carl jumped the restart under both scenarios. Even if he was the leader, he restarted before the box. And if he wasn't the leader, he beat the 14 to the line, which isn't allowed either. In 2010 at Phoenix, in the Nationwide Series, Kyle Busch did the same thing and got the black flag. So I applaud NASCAR for being consistent. Except for a few weeks ago at Bristol, where Matt Kenseth was second and beat the leader to the line and didn't get penalized. Oh, and when Carl found out that Matt Kenseth got away with it and Carl didn't, look what he did. Okay, that was 2007, but it's still funny. And, by the way, I think Tony Stewart hung back on this restart to set Carl up. Because Tony is no slouch on restarts. Hey, remember Homestead last year? Smoked everyone. Meanwhile, pit road continues to be an absolute joy for a few of these teams.
Awesome. Guys, wipe your tire. Instead of taking the day off tomorrow, maybe you guys can go to the shop and work on this.
But the low light for me, Slugger Labby's response to one of his boys' actions on pit road.
If somebody does that again, you will not work for RCR ever again. Unacceptable.
Oh, yeah. Wouldn't want to damage RCR's sterling reputation at Richmond, of all places.
How'd that 27 spit, Jeff? Did you see that?
And finally, the question everyone's been asking.
True or false, a small family of squirrels has taken up residence in Dale Jr.'s beard?
True. What is up with that thing? Somebody get me my weed whacker.
Dale, is it true you like to hub it out with us?
Well, I like Jimmie's take.
Jimmie Spencer.
Yeah.
A weed whacker, Spence? Listen, I think he and his beard are going to go to Victory Lane at Talladega.
Hey, as good as he's running, he can't. And you know what, by the way? Breaking news. With the quick starts Carl's been getting Saturday night, Jack Roush is thinking about entering him in the Kentucky Derby as one of the horses. They're looking into Jason Leffer as being the jockey.
That's good writing right there, Spence.
You ready? Green flag, green.
Hey, are you going to have more crying towels? The fans want crying towels.
They are cherished items, and I'm going to award them when I feel due diligence.
But only then.
And cigars, too. So these are expensive things, Steve.
So you're not guaranteeing them every week is what you're saying. But they're still there.
Hey, Talladega, we know we'll hear some crying on Sunday.
You think? All right, time for Jimmie to answer your questions, emails, Twitters. Here we go. First question comes from Alex in Anaheim, California. He asks, Jimmie, why doesn't NASCAR start and restart at the start-finish line where the race is won instead of a restart box?
You know, in years past, there never used to be a restart box. It was just in the vicinity. The box is just because NASCAR's way of saying, all right, here you guys go. But if the drivers knew that there was a black and white line painted in a checkered pattern across the track where that green clothy thing waves, that was the restart line, we wouldn't have had the confusion like we had last week. But I guess you know what, Alex? That'd be too simple.
Aha. Edward Cook on Facebook writes, since Daytona and Dega are different tracks, and this weekend being the first plate race during the daytime since February, Spence, will team setups be any different than Daytona?
You know, Talladega and Daytona are different. But with each track being repaved in the recent years, and with the quality of engineering we have today, setups are almost identical. In years past, though, there used to be two different setups. But with all this new advancement in the series and this common templates, setups are basically the same.
And new pavement at both.
Oh, yeah.
All right, while we're on the topic, our next question is from Tracy Knoll on Twitter. Jimmie, do you think high temperatures, it's going to be hot down there, Spence,
love it,
will affect the EFI system this weekend at Talladega, electronic fuel injection?
Tracy, time will tell, but I don't think so. After 9 races into the season, I think everyone's finally has a grasp on this EFI. However, the heat does do some weird things to these cars. That could create some new problems that teams aren't expecting. If you ask me, though, I hope something heats up, because we sure could use some kind of excitement in these here races.
Heat affects the drivers, too. The last question is from Michael Salazar on Facebook. He says, Jimmie, which Hendrick driver deserves Rick Hendrick's 200th win more?
Well, Michael, the popular answer among fans is going to be Dale Jr. And I'd like to see him win soon, but I'm pulling for Jeff Gordon. He's pretty much established Hendricks Motorsports. If you look up record setter in the dictionary, there's probably a picture of Jeff Gordon alongside Dale Earnhardt Sr. His resume is like a book. Heck, he even brought old Five-Time to the fold. Some might disagree, but how can I not root for them Rainbow Warriors?
Jimmy Spencer won at Talladega. Get some of that.
Hey, I'm looking forward to it. Talladega is long overdue to get some real exciting racing. We're going to see a great finish again, and don't underestimate them Fords.
Don't underestimate them, he says.
The NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race, May 19th, 7 p.m. Eastern, on Speed.
See, you know, I've always thought that, Jimmy Spencer, you're always in your own universe. You're orbiting yourself.
You know, I did try out for the space shuttle job. They wouldn't give it to me. But anyway, I'm handing out 3 awards tonight. And my first cigar goes to...
Woo! Nice job, boys! 200! Nice!
Rick Hendrick, of course. Big congrats to Mr. H on win number 200. The truth be told, though, if I had it my way back in 97, Saturday night would have only been 199.
And Jimmy Spencer, he's trying everything he knows to stay in front.
Looks like Jeff is going to be able to lap Jimmy Spencer.
Oh, the leader goes around.
It goes. Sorry about that, Jeff. Anyways, from the thrills of victory to the agony of insanity, it's time for Kurt Busch Radio Sweetheart.
Just how it typically gets every week. I hate my job. What the does he want? When you ran out of the pit, you almost ran some of them over there all wanting to whoop your You got to start at the back with it too soon. It's a one to go yet! They want you to drop part of the back. I am in there! I'm in there! All these behind me are all down! All right, man, cool down. Let's finish and get some points here.
Well, I, for one, just can't imagine that Kurt would actually come close to hitting any crew members on pit road. Anyways, what was going on here when Kurt walked out of the hauler only to turn around and walk right back in? With everything that went down, the penalty does not surprise me one bit. So, Kurt, I gotta do it. One flat tire and a blow-up like that. You got it. It's the crying towel. A special red one. An angry one. It's only May. And you've already had a full-blown blow-up. Oh, God, Kurt. So, we saw the aftermath of Kurt's flat tire. Jeff Gordon, however, had 2 flat tires. And look how similarly the 2 champions reacted. Here's Gordon's reaction.
Bad luck is when you run over something that no one else can find, and you run over and cut a tire. We did that twice tonight.
And here's Kurt.
Wow.
So clearly, Steve, very similar reactions from Jeff and Kurt. After having the same issue, Jeff gets a Cigar Award, though. Maybe it'll cheer him up. Can't believe how many things have gone wrong for Big Daddy this year. This will turn it around for Jeffrey.
But there's hope for Jeffrey. Larry Mack said last night, Brad Keselowski...
Did he say he'll pass him on the high side?
Not on the high side. He said Brad Keselowski was in the same points position after 11 races last year, so they still have a chance at the chase. Thanks, Spence. Good info as always.
Thanks, Steve.
You're so shy.
You ready? Ready? Green flag, green.
We already had Jimmy with an IE. It's time for Jimmy with a Y. Mr. Excitement is here. Okay, what'd you think of the All-Star race, Spence?
Burns, I loved the spirited battle for 23rd between the 48, 17, and 2 there in that 4th segment. But that must have been the easiest race Jimmie Johnson ever won. He only raced for 30 laps and a pit stop. Anyways, there were a number of things I found pretty funny this weekend, starting with...
Paul Menard and Kevin Harvick. Whoa, they're teammates.
Harvick got in the wall pretty hard, too. Moron. Teammates love driving with their mirrors. He ran into me on the 2. If he wants to hit me, I'm going to hit him back.
I I, for one, don't understand why Kevin was racing Paul so hard. I mean, how short is your memory, Happy?
I showed him nothing but respect since I got here, and he hasn't shown that back, so whatever.
Harvick, Paul did you a solid last fall to help you have a shot at winning in Richmond, and this is how you repay him? Anyways, the hilarity didn't stop there, because there's a new star in the Camping World Truck Series, and his name is Spinnin' Brennan Newberry.
The 14 of Brennan Newberry around, and there is some damage to that truck.
Oh, got to spin up in 4.
The 14 of Brennan Newberry once again sideways for the 14 through 4.
Guess what?
The 14 of Brennan Newberry. We've seen that a few times.
Now, in his defense, it's my belief that Carl Edwards put him up to this. Because the car was scared he was going to win the All-Star race again, wanted to avoid this embarrassing incident repeating itself. But the weekend got off to a hilarious start on Friday when sweetheart Kurt Busch met with the media after his Darlington penalty.
Did I mean to drive through their pit box? Heck, there could have been 42 other guys pitted next to us, but it just happened to be the guy that spun around in our same incident. I was trying to be the man and get my car back to the garage. Instead, I could have walked away like Newman walked away.
So Kurt, he gives his side of the story, but then the media became a bit too much to deal with.
This weekend here at the All-Star race, and a lot of people get excited for it. And I wanted to finish, to go there and put together the results that we can.
If looks could kill, OMG. But then yours truly got a shout out.
The lesson that I learned from that is keep your helmet on all the way to the garage area. I should have learned that from the Jimmy Spencer incident years ago.
Okay, David.
Oh yeah, sorry about that, Kurt. But finally, it came to an end.
This is fun. This is entertainment, right, guys? This is why you guys are all here suffocating me at the back of this hauler.
All right, thanks, everyone. Appreciate
Everybody goes on the hauler.
Ooh, that speaks for itself, doesn't it? Love that guy. I mean, he's one of the top 5 drivers in the sport. Easy. But he's just got to keep his head on, and he'll be in better shape.
You're suffocating me, Spence.
He needs a lot of help.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Normally, our little friend Jimmy Spencer is cooking up a deep dish of driver stew, but yesterday you were cooking up some great stuff on the grill with your daughter Katrina. That brisket, phenomenal.
Well, thanks, Daniel. And you know, here at the Hub, we got a roll. So all the employees here, we had a little cookout for them. And I'm telling you what, the food was fantastic and the people enjoyed it. I'm glad I could do it.
It was a great cap to a wonderful Memorial Day weekend, Jim.
Think about a great weekend. How about Rick Hendrick getting his 201st win? I predicted Casey Kane would win this championship way back in January. It wasn't looking good for me there for a while, but I'm sticking to my guns. Cigar Award for Casey Kane. In case you were wondering why Carl Edwards hasn't won a points race in over a year, this is how he and Bob Osborne spend their races.
Get a one at a time, bud. You say one at a time? One at a time, yes, I did. That was pretty funny. Take that sandwich if it's possible. I'm going to look pretty funny if I have to do interviews after this. Why? Because all the food that's going to be all over you? I specifically said peanut butter only. Peanut butter only. Maybe a little honey, but that jelly's pretty nasty. It's all over me.
Keep up the good work, guys. Stewart Haas Racing also had a bang-up night.
I swear I'm going to bust his out of the world. I'm going to get any more speed out of it. Just really here. 70 right on you. Inside easy.
What the hell do they do that for? Like, I'm 5 laps down.
And if that wasn't bad enough, then things just started to get weird.
I thought you were mad at me.
Oh, no. How could I be mad at you? You're too cute.
I'm greedy. I want to keep everything I can till the end. I hate to have to key up the mic and tell you that I don't have enough.
I thought that you had an endless supply.
No, I wish.
Oh, my sources are wrong then.
And finally, we've arrived at the recipient of the crying towel. Poor Chad Canals.
Oh, go. It was a half, 1 and 1/2.
You guys, if we could this up any worse today. Go, 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 go. Stop, 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 stop. Oh, my God. Go, go, go. Me.
I don't think I've ever seen a pit stop quite that messed up.
You know what's next? He's gonna have to start firing people again.
Wow, Jimmie Spencer reduced to tears over Chad Knaus?
Listen, you work with him on NASCAR performance. You tell him to lighten up.
Oh, I guess I'll deliver the message, Spence, and a walk-off.
You ready? Ready? Green flag, green, green.
My main man Spence is here. You ready for the emails?
You know it, man.
All right, here we go. First question comes from T. Baker. He asks, hey, Jimmie, have you noticed the cars Dale Jr. keeps knocking out of his Highline are Toyotas? Maybe the lifelong Chevy driver has it in for him.
You know, I think it's just a coincidence that both Mark Martin and Bobby Labonte drive them Toyotas. And Junior did apologize to Labonte's spot. What may not be a coincidence is that Junior still has not won in over 1,400 days, or 136 races. So maybe impatience is getting the better of him. But you know what, Steve? Junior's going to victory lane shortly.
And he's going to be in the chase. All right, this next one is from Denise. She asks, MWR, that's Michael Waltrip Racing, cars are fast this season, and Joe Gibbs Racing cars seem to be lacking speed. Don't they both get their engines from TRD, Toyota Racing Development? And if so, what do you think is the difference?
I'm glad you clarified that TRD. Denise, you're correct. Both do get their engines from Toyota, but it takes some more than just an engine to win these races. Look at competition director Scott Miller. He left RCR to join MWR. Now, Childress, he can barely keep it together, and MWR looks like heroes. Think of it this way. A bicycle can only ride properly if all the spokes are together. Without one, the ride just ain't the same.
I got to keep you straight on all these abbreviations. Speaking of engines, James asks, everyone keeps saying that the David Rudiman incident at Martinsville was caused by a broken timing belt. Aren't NASCAR motors overhead valve motors and not overhead cam motors? If so, why would they run a timing belt and not a timing chain, Mr. Spencer?
Great observation. James, I'll tell you, NASCAR runs an overhead valve motor. And in the 1970s and 80s, in fact, they used a timing chain that you're referring to. But to give the teams better durability and to be able to fine-tune the cam adjustments, advance and retard them, they switched over to the timing belt. It's basically the same thing.
All right, but our last question comes from Richard. He's in Daytona. Uh-oh. You don't think he's a spy, do you?
Oh, man, I love Daytona, baby.
He writes, NASCAR says that under the new point system, they made winning more important. But under the old system, Tony Stewart would have won last year's championship by 50 points. Instead, he ended up tied. So isn't winning less important now?
Now, you know, I didn't take college algebra, and I can't tell you that scenario is wrong. But I can tell you Tony Stewart won 4 more races than Carl. I can also tell you last year's championship run was the most exciting in the sport's history. We can come up with all kinds of scenarios, but the point system structure right now is by far the best we've ever seen.
You crushed it.
Thanks, Steve.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you, baby. And good luck at Kansas to all those drivers.